Introduction, the 1% filter. Look at the view counter of this video. Now imagine how many thousands of people saw this same title on their screen a few seconds ago and kept scrolling down. They swiped their finger. They ignored the message. They kept looking for cheap dopamine, a 10-second dance, a political news story to make them angry, or a cat video to numb them. The algorithm showed them the door, but their mental programming did not allow them to enter. Not you, you stopped. You clicked. Do you think it's a coincidence? In metaphysics, there are no accidents, only resonances. If you are listening to my voice right now, it's because there is a part of you, perhaps very small, perhaps very afraid, but undoubtedly alive, that is screaming. A part of you that knows something is wrong with the script they sold you. Welcome to the 1% Club. And I'm not referring to the financial 1%. I'm referring to something much more scarce, the 1% of consciousness. The vast majority of humanity lives under a collective hypnosis. They wake up, they work to pay debts, they consume entertainment to forget they worked, they sleep and they repeat. They are terrified of death, they spend fortunes on insurance, on anti-wrinkle creams and on social security, but paradoxically, they never live. They die at 25 even if they aren't buried until 80. They spend 5 decades being biological corpses that pay taxes, moved only by inertia and the fear of what people will say. This audiobook is not for them. If you are looking for comfort, if you want to be told that everything happens for a reason, and that the universe will bring you what you desire while you sit on the sofa, close this. Go away. You are not ready. This book is a declaration of war against your own mediocrity. The premise we are going to start from is brutal, but necessary. Your time is not money. Your time is life. And it is running out. Every second you spend doubting, every day you spend postponing that project, that book, that business, or that trip because of fear, is an insult to the miracle of your existence. The cemetery is the richest place on the planet. Buried there are the inventions that were never launched, the masterpieces that were never painted, and the loves that were never confessed, all because their owners were afraid to start. They were afraid of failing, without realizing that the only real failure is not trying. You are here because you don't want to join the ranks of that cemetery of dreams. You are here because you feel an urgency in your chest. That urgency is your soul asking for way. It is the life force trying to overcome entropy. In the coming chapters, we are going to dismantle the lies that keep you small. We are going to talk about the metaphysics of massive action. I am not going to motivate you. Motivation is for amateurs. I am going to discipline you. I am going to give you the mental tools to kill your cowardly self and allow your legendary self to be born. Are you willing to hear truths that will hurt you before they heal you? Are you willing to stop being a spectator of your life and become the protagonist, even if that means bleeding a little in the arena? The 99% have already left. Only you and I remain. If you are still here, then let's make it worth it. Chapter 1. The richest place on the planet, the cemetery. The graveyard is the richest place on earth, because it is here that you will find all the books that were never written, all the songs that were never sung, all the inventions that were never shared, and all the cures that were never discovered, because someone was too afraid to take that first step. Les Brown. I want you to accompany me mentally to a place. It is not a pleasant place. It doesn't smell like incense or fresh flowers. It smells like damp earth and final silence. Imagine that you are walking through an ancient cemetery. Look at the tombstones. Some are of expensive marble, others are simple crosses of rotten wood. You read the names: Juan, Maria, Roberto, Ana, dates of birth and dates of death, a hyphen in the middle that represents an entire existence. Most people, when they walk through here, feel sadness for the loss of life. They think of the relatives who cried, of the pain of the absence, but you and I are not here to cry. We are here to perform a financial audit. We are here to evaluate the lost wealth. We have been lied to about where the wealth on this planet is. They tell us it is in the diamond mines of South Africa, or in the oil reserves of Arabia, or in the digital vaults of Wall Street. Lie. The greatest fortune of humanity is buried 6 feet under, rotting inside wooden boxes. Beneath that tombstone over there lies a man who had the ability to write the book that would have saved your marriage, but he never wrote it because he thought he wasn't good enough. He took the book with him. Beneath that other tombstone rests a woman who had the idea for a technology company that would have cleaned the oceans, but she was afraid to ask for the loan to start. She took the company with her. There lies a young man who had the melody of a song that would have cured the depression of millions, but he was terrified to sing in public. He took the music with him. Do you understand the magnitude of the theft? These people did not just die, they committed an act of cosmic vandalism. They took their gifts with them. They kidnapped the potential that the universe had entrusted to them and annulled it. And now that potential is dust, it no longer serves anyone. It has been lost forever in the entropy of the cosmos. You are alive. Your heart beats while you listen to this, but I have to ask you the question that nobody dares to ask you to your face. What are you killing right now inside of you? What idea, what project, what conversation, what dream are you slowly suffocating with your cowardice? Are you waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives? If you died today, and it's not a metaphor, it's a statistical possibility, what treasure would you steal from the rest of us? The metaphysics of the unborn idea. Let's talk about energy. People believe that ideas are just thoughts, that they have no weight, that they are harmless. Oh, I had an idea, but it passed. Grave mistake. Metaphysically, an idea is a living entity. It is a package of intelligent energy that seeks to manifest itself in the physical plane. The idea does not belong to you. The idea visits you. The universe, in its infinite creativity, seeks channels to expand. It seeks hands to build, mouths to speak, minds to resolve. And it chooses you. It hits you in the shower, or while you drive, or in a dream. Boom, the clear vision, the emotion, the I should do this. At that moment, a spiritual contract is signed. The idea says to you, are you available to give birth to me? This is where the tragedy of the 99% occurs. Most people say, yes, but I don't have money. Yes, but what will my parents say? Yes, but I am too old and too young, too fat, too skinny, and they close the door. What do you think happens to that energy? Do you think it simply disappears? Energy is neither created nor destroyed, it is only transformed. If you do not transform that creative energy into art or action, that energy transforms into poison. A rejected idea does not die, it rots inside you. It becomes anxiety. It becomes resentment. It becomes envy. Have you ever seen those bitter, cynical people who criticize everything others do? Those people who hate the successful, who leave poisonous comments on the internet. Do you know what happens to them? They are not bad people. They are people constipated with potential. They are full of rotten ideas that they never dared to take out. Envy is simply your unused potential, screaming at you upon seeing someone else doing what you know you could have done. When you see someone succeed in what you dreamed of, and you feel pain, that pain is the evidence of your crime. It is your soul telling you, that was ours and you let it escape. Not taking your gifts to the grave is not just a nice piece of motivational advice. It is a matter of mental and spiritual health. If you do not create what you are capable of creating, what you do not create will destroy you. The selfishness of fear. We are going to be tough here. You call your inaction fear, shyness, prudence, or perfectionism. I call it by its true name, selfishness. Yes, you are a selfish person. When you have a gift, whether it is cooking, writing, programming, leading, comforting, and you do not use it because you are afraid of failing, you are thinking only of yourself. You are protecting your small self-image. You are protecting your ego from a possible scratch. Oh, what if I try and it goes wrong? I will feel silly. So what? Who cares how you feel? The mission is not about you. It is about whom you are going to serve. The book you don't write leaves thousands of people without that story they needed to read to have hope. The business you don't launch leaves employees without work and customers without a solution. Your fear is depriving the world of your contribution. Imagine that the doctor who discovered penicillin had said, I'm afraid to publish this. What if my colleagues laugh at me? Better I keep it to myself. Millions would have died. You will say, but I am not going to discover penicillin. You don't know that. And even if your contribution is small, it is a piece of the puzzle. If you don't put your piece in, the picture of humanity remains incomplete. There is a hole in the fabric of reality where your work should be. The cemetery is full of selfish people who valued their emotional security more than their duty of service. They chose the comfort of anonymity instead of the risk of greatness. And now their names are erased by the rain on the tombstones, and the world keeps turning, a little poorer, a little darker, because they did not turn on their light. 30. The hallucination of eternity. Why do we do this? Why do we procrastinate? Because deep down we do not believe we are going to die. We know intellectually that we are mortal, of course, but the reptilian brain does not process its own death. We live as if we had an infinite lease agreement with life. We say, I will do it next year. Who promised you next year? Where did you sign that you are going to reach next December? Look at the news. People die every day in accidents, heart attacks, disasters. People who had a full schedule for the following week. People who had plans to start in January. The cemetery does not distinguish schedules. Death is the only real deadline you have, and the terrifying thing is that you don't know when it falls. It could be in 40 years, or it could be next Tuesday. Living with this awareness is not morbid, it is vitalizing. The Stoics practiced memento mori, remember that you will die, not to get depressed, but to eliminate the garbage. When you know your time is finite, you stop tolerating stupidity. You stop wasting time in jobs you hate, in relationships that do not nurture you, in ridiculous miedos. Death is the great filter. Faced with death, does it matter if they laugh at your YouTube video? No. Faced with death, does it matter if you fail in your first business attempt? No. The only thing that matters in the face of death is, did I empty myself? Did I deliver everything I brought? Or am I leaving with my backpack full? The weight of I should have. Let's talk about hell. I don't believe in the hell of fire and pitchforks. I believe in a much more cruel hell, one designed by the mind itself. Imagine this scene. You die. Your consciousness separates from the body. You arrive at a white room, and there you meet a person. That person looks like you but is different. He has a bright look. He has a strong body. He radiates peace and power. He looks satisfied. You ask, who are you? And that person responds, I am the version of you that dared. I am the you that wrote the book. I am the you that was not afraid. I am the you that utilized all his potential. And then they show you a movie of how his life was. You see the trips, the loves, the impacts, the legacies, and you realize that all that was available to you, you didn't lack talent, you didn't lack money, you didn't lack time, you only lacked courage. To have to look at that version of yourself and know that you killed it with your inaction, that is the true hell. The weight of I should have is the heaviest load a soul can carry. I should have said I love you. I should have started that business. I should have traveled more. That regret is eternal. Failure, on the other hand, is temporary. The cemetery is full of people who are living that hell right now on the spiritual plane. Looking back and screaming in silence. You still have the pen in your hand. You can still change the end of the movie. Die empty. There is a concept by the author Todd Henry that I want you to tattoo on your brain. Die empty. Do not seek to die comfortable. Do not seek to die rich. Seek to die empty. Imagine that you are a sponge full of water. The purpose of the sponge is not to retain the water. It is to release it, to clean, to nurture. If the sponge dies full of water, it failed. Your life must be a process of squeezing yourself out. Every day ask yourself, did I release something today? Did I write the paragraph? Did I give the advice? Did I make the effort? Do not keep anything for the return trip, because on the return trip, you do not need luggage. Many people live in energy-saving mode. They take too much care of themselves. They don't make an effort. They don't wear themselves out. I'm not going to work so much lest I get tired. I'm not going to love so much lest they hurt me. They reach the grave with their body intact, without scars, rested, and their soul full of load. Soul full of undelivered load. Wear yourself out. Life is for spending. Use your brain until it hurts. Use your heart until it breaks and heals itself bigger. Use your hands until they have calluses. Arrive at the end skidding, disheveled, exhausted and screaming. What a ride! I used it all. I have nothing left. That is a dignified death. That is respect for the Creator. Returning the empty container because you drank all the contents. The perfectionism trap, the silent killer. The number one ally of the cemetery of dreams is perfectionism. It sounds elegant. I am a perfectionist. It seems like a virtue. It is not. It is a mask of fear. Perfectionism is the belief that if you do something wrong, you will die, socially. So, you decide not to launch anything until it is perfect. Since perfection does not exist in this earthly plane, you never launch anything. The perfectionist is sterile. He bears no fruit. The cemetery loves perfectionists. They are its best customers. They take masterpieces to the grave because they lacked a final touch. You have to embrace the philosophy of aggressive imperfection. Launch broken things. Launch drafts. Launch beta versions. An imperfect project published today is worth infinitely more than a perfect project kept in your drawer forever. The world does not need your perfection. It needs your voice. And your voice trembles sometimes, and you go out of tune, and you make mistakes. And that is what makes it human and real. Tombstones do not have footnotes saying, "Here lies Juan, who waited for everything to be perfect." They simply say, "Here lies Juan," and the silence completes the sentence with, "and he did nothing." Break the mirror of perfection. It is the golden cage of your potential. Seventh, identify your corpse. Let's make this practical. I want you to think right now about a project or dream that you have been postponing. Give it a name. Is it a book, a YouTube channel, a foundation, a difficult conversation, a career change? Visualize it. Now, visualize a small coffin. Visualize how you put that dream into the coffin. You nail the lid down. You lower it into the ground. And you throw dirt on top. Listen to the sound of the dirt falling on the wood. How do you feel? Do you feel relief? If you feel relief, perhaps that dream was not yours. Let it go. Do you feel pain? Do you feel nausea? Do you feel an internal rebellion? Do you want to scream no? Then that dream is alive, and you are burying it alive. That is torture. You have to get it out of there, now, today, not tomorrow. You have to get your hands dirty with soil and dig it up. And the only way to dig it up is with immediate action. Verfeed, the invitation to the challenge. This book is not for you to feel guilty. Guilt is a useless emotion that also belongs to the cemetery. This book is for you to feel angry. I want you to get angry with your own passivity. I want you to get angry with the time you have wasted. Anger is an energy of transformation. Sadness sits you on the sofa. Anger gets you up. Use that sacred anger to break the inertia. I challenge you. Don't let this chapter be just interesting information. If you finish listening to this and you don't do anything different, you have failed. You are a tourist in the cemetery. But if you decide that today you are going to take a step, even if it is small, if you decide to write the first page, buy the web domain, make the call, throw away the junk food, sign up for the course, then you have started to empty yourself. You have started to steal back from the cemetery what is yours. You have started to reclaim your inheritance. Remember, the richest place on the planet is full of people who said tomorrow. You are the 1%. You do not say tomorrow. You say now. Because you know that life is not a dress rehearsal. This is the show. The lights are on. The audience waits. And the curtain will fall sooner or later, whether you are ready or not. Act, create, live. And for God's sake, die empty. In the next chapter, we are going to destroy the favorite excuse of the inhabitants of the cemetery, security. We will discover why seeking security is the fastest way to guarantee your own extinction in life. Get ready, we are going to burn the ships to... Chapter 2. The Hallucination of Security. Living not to die. Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Helen Keller. Wherever you look, you see people building bunkers. Not concrete bunkers, but psychological and financial bunkers. They look for the secure job. They look for the stable partner. They look for the guaranteed pension plan. They take out insurance for the car, for the house, for life, for the mobile, for the pets. They live obsessed with eliminating the variable X from their existence. They want to predict the future. They want guarantees. They want certainty. And in that frantic search for security, They make the most serious calculation error a human being can make. They trade their freedom for an illusion of stability. Welcome to the hallucination of security. I have to tell you clearly, security does not exist. It is a concept invented by man to sell policies and control the masses. Look at nature. Where do you see security? Is the gazelle safe in the savannah? No. Is the oak tree safe from the lightning? No. Is the Earth safe orbiting in a universe full of asteroids? No. Life, by definition, is vulnerability. It is risk. It is exposure. The moment you try to shield yourself against uncertainty, you shield yourself against life itself. You become a statue inside a glass box. You are safe, yes. Nothing can touch you. But you cannot move, nor breathe, nor grow either. You are preserved, like a mummy. And this book is for the living, not for mummies. To the reptilian brain, your inner enemy. To understand why you are addicted to security, you have to understand your hardware. You have an ancient brain, the reptilian brain, amygdala, whose only function is, do not die. Your reptilian brain does not care if you are happy. It does not care if you fulfill your dreams. It does not care if you are legendary. It only cares that you reach tomorrow breathing. For this primitive brain, the unknown, death, leaving the cave, saber-toothed tigers, starting a business, starving, public speaking, expulsion from the tribe and death. That is why you feel that visceral panic when you are about to take a risk. It is not a spiritual intuition telling you don't do it. It is your inner lizard screaming, back to the rock, let's hide. The problem is that we no longer live in the Pleistocene. Today, public speaking does not kill you. Failing in a business does not kill you. No one starves to death for crashing an LLC in the Western world. But you continue to obey fear as if it were a mortal threat. You live your life designed to survive, not to live. You are playing defense in a game that rewards offense. If you spend 80 years protecting your queen and your rooks without moving them, you will end the match with all the pieces intact, but you will have lost the game. And no one will remember your match. Security is the drug that sedates your potential. To the payroll scam, the Christmas turkey. Let's talk about the ultimate icon of modern security, stable employment. They have sold us that selling 40 hours of your life a week in exchange for a fixed monthly deposit is the safe thing. Allow me to present the concept of the Christmas turkey by Nassim Taleb. Imagine a turkey. Each day a farmer feeds him. The turkey thinks, this farmer is my friend. This system is safe. The more time passes, the more confirmation I have that the farmer loves me and takes care of me. My life is an ascending line of security. On day 100, the turkey's security is at its maximum. Day 101 is Thanksgiving Day, and the farmer cuts off his head. The turkey's security was an illusion based on past data. Your job security is the same. You think you are safe because you were paid last month. But in a global economy, with artificial intelligence, crises and pandemics, your job hangs by a very thin thread. If your only source of income depends on the decision of another person, your boss, you are not safe. You are vulnerable. You are a turkey waiting for November. Real security is not having someone feed you. Real security is knowing how to hunt your own food. The entrepreneur, the artist, the creator, who knows how to generate value from scratch, that is the only one who is secure. Because if the market changes, he adapts. If they fire him, he hires himself. Depending on an external system is the definition of slavery, even if the cage has heating and Wi-Fi. Third, practical atheism, distrusting life. Let's get metaphysical. The obsession with security is a form of practical atheism. Even if you go to church or meditate, if you need to have 100% control and certainty about the future to be at peace, you are declaring, I do not trust the universe. I do not trust my abilities. I do not trust that I will be able to handle whatever comes. You demand guarantees before acting. I will start a business if you assure me I will earn money. I will love if you assure me they won't break my heart. The universe does not negotiate with terrorists, and you, with your demands for certainty, are trying to extort life. Faith, the true spiritual currency, is acting without guarantees. It is jumping and building the wings on the way down. When you cling to what is safe, You are insulting your own divinity. You are saying that you are too small and incompetent to deal with chaos, but you are made of stardust and chaos. You are a child of the storm. You are designed to adapt, to resolve, to create order where there is none. Seeking security is denying your creative nature. It is saying, God, you gave me the power to create worlds, but I prefer to stay in this cubicle filing papers because it is not cold here. It is a waste of divinity. IV the golden cage opportunity cost. Everything has a price. The price of freedom is uncertainty. The price of security is your soul. It is not free to stay in that job that you hate, but that pays the bills. You are paying for it with your time, with your enthusiasm, and with your health. You are paying with what economists call opportunity cost. While you are sitting there safe, you are missing out on all the other possible lives you could be living. You are missing out on the life of the traveler, that of the inventor, that of the leader. You are paying with your potential. Security is a golden cage. At first it is comfortable, you have birdseed and water, but soon you realize that your wings are atrophying, and the worst part, you see other birds flying outside. At first you criticize them. Look at those crazy ones, going through cold and hunger. They don't know what stability is. But deep down, you envy them, because they are alive and you are a domestic ornament. A day comes when they open the cage door and you no longer go out. Not because you can't, but because you have forgotten how to fly. The addiction to security has disabled you. Break the bars now while you still have strength in your wings. Tomorrow may be too late. V the ship in the harbor. You know the phrase, a ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. Let's analyze this in depth. If you leave a ship in the harbor for too long, what happens? Does it stay perfectly preserved? No. It rots. Barnacles stick to the hull. The wood gets damp. The engine rusts from lack of use. The sails get moldy. The harbor ironically destroys the ship faster than the sea. Immobility is corrosive. You are the ship. You are designed to navigate the ocean of uncertainty. Your engines, talents, need revolutions. Your hull, character, needs the pounding of the waves to harden. If you stay moored to the dock of security, you are going to rust. That feeling of apathy, of boredom, of emptiness that you feel on Sunday afternoons, it is the rust of your soul. It is entropy eating a stationary ship. Depression is often simply the result of a lack of vital challenge. Your system is designed for adventure. If you do not give it adventure, it destroys itself. Leave the harbor, face the storm. It is better to sink on the high seas fighting the waves, an epic death, than to rot slowly at the dock, a sad death. But I will tell you a secret. Most of those who go out do not sink. They learn to navigate. Victor's redefining dangerous. Our danger compass is broken. We believe that. Starting a business is dangerous. Leaving a toxic job is dangerous. Investing in oneself is dangerous. Telling the truth is dangerous. But we do not see the real danger of the opposite. It is dangerous to spend 40 years in a job that makes you miserable. That causes cancer, heart attacks, and spiritual suicide. It is dangerous to depend on a single source of income. It is dangerous not to educate oneself. It is dangerous to swallow your words. What you call safe is actually mortal in the long run. It is like smoking. A cigarette does not kill you today, but it kills you in 20 years. Mediocre routine is the tobacco of the soul. What you call dangerous, taking a risk, is actually vitalizing. It is like high-intensity exercise. It hurts at the time, it leaves you breathless, it feels like you're going to die, but it makes you stronger and lengthens your life. You have to reverse your risk map. Be more afraid of mediocrity than failure. Be more afraid of not trying than of losing money. Money is recovered. Time and dignity are not. Third, anti-fragility, benefiting from chaos. Nassim Taleb gave us another vital concept for the 1%, anti-fragility. There are 3 types of things. Fragile, that which breaks with the blow, a glass cup. Robust, that which stands the blow but does not improve, a rock. Anti-fragile, that which improves with the blow, a muscle, the hydra of Lerner. The seeker of security tries to be robust, to endure, but ends up being fragile. It breaks when the crisis is too large. The warrior of the 1% seeks to be anti-fragile. You need chaos. You need stress. You need risk. When you expose yourself to controlled risks, you become smarter, faster, and stronger. And if you protect yourself from everything, you become weak and useless. Look at overprotected children, helicopter parents. They don't let them climb trees. They don't let them get dirty. They don't let them fail. The result? Anxious adults, unable to deal with life fragile as glass. You are doing the same to yourself. You are overprotecting yourself. Stop treating yourself like a baby. Treat yourself like a Spartan warrior. Expose yourself to the cold. Expose yourself to rejection. Expose yourself to the possibility of losing. Only in the fire is steel forged. In cotton, only moths are bred. Bait money follows risk. Let's talk about money, since you worry so much about financial security. The metaphysical law of wealth is simple. Money is a reward for the risk assumed and the value provided. The employee earns little because he assumes zero risk. The risk is assumed by the owner. The entrepreneur earns a lot or loses a lot because he assumes all the risk. If you want security, you accept the glass ceiling of a fixed salary. If you want unlimited wealth, you have to accept unlimited uncertainty. You cannot have both. They are opposites on the spectrum. The rich of the 1% are experts in managing uncertainty. They eat uncertainty for breakfast. They learn to be comfortable not knowing what will happen tomorrow, but trusting in their ability to solve it. If you want to enter the 1%, you have to let go of the railing. You have to learn to walk the tightrope without a net. At first, it is terrifying. Then you realize you are a born tightrope walker, and the view from the tightrope is spectacular. The worst-case scenario, fear setting. I'm going to give you a tool to deactivate biological fear. Fear Setting by Tim Ferriss. Your brain tells you, if I leave my job and fail, I will die under a bridge. That is a lie. Let's analyze it rationally. If you take a risk and everything goes wrong, worst-case scenario, will you really die? No. What would happen? Perhaps you lose your savings. Perhaps you have to go back to living with your parents for a while. Perhaps you have to look for another worse job. Perhaps people speak ill of you. Okay, so what? Are those things mortal? No. They are uncomfortable. They are humiliating for the ego. But they are not mortal. Could you recover? Yes. In a few years you would be back. Now look at the best-case scenario. If you take a risk and it goes well, financial freedom, purpose, legacy, pride, travels, impact. The asymmetry is brutal. You are risking temporary discomfort, failure, in exchange for eternal freedom, success. And you are rejecting that bet because you are afraid of discomfort. It is a bad business. Any investor would tell you that you are foolish if you don't take that bet. The risk of staying the same, slow death, is 100%. The risk of trying has at least a percentage of victory. Play the odds. It's the call to insecurity. I want to invite you to be insecure. I want you to embrace instability. Stop looking for firm ground and start learning how to surf. The waves never stop. Tomorrow, do something that scares you. Do something that does not have a guaranteed result. Send that email to the unreachable person. Invest that money in your education. Launch the imperfect project. Tell the universe, I am ready to play without a net. When you do that, the universe respects you. And curiously, when you stop looking for security obsessively, you start to find a new form of security, self-confidence. You no longer trust that the world is stable. You trust that you are capable of navigating any storm. That is the only real security, the one you are wearing. You are alive to experiment, to err, to fall and get up. You are not here to arrive intact at the coffin. Break the bubble wrap that envelops your life. Tear your skin. Get dirty. Living not to die is the saddest way to die while alive. Choose to live to create, even if that means dying trying. Chapter 2. The Hallucination of Security. Living not to die. Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. Helen Keller. Wherever you look, you see people building bunkers. Not concrete bunkers, but psychological and financial bunkers. They look for the secure job. They look for the stable partner. They look for the guaranteed pension plan. They take out insurance for the car, for the house, for life, for the mobile, for the pets. They live obsessed with eliminating the variable X from their existence. They want to predict the future. They want guarantees. They want certainty. And in that frantic search for security, they make the most serious calculation error a human being can make. They trade their freedom for an illusion of stability. Welcome to the hallucination of security. I have to tell you clearly, security does not exist. It is a concept invented by man to sell policies and control the masses. Look at nature. Where do you see security? Is the gazelle safe in the savannah? No. Is the oak tree safe from the lightning? No. Is the Earth safe orbiting in a universe full of asteroids? No. Life, by definition, is vulnerability. It is risk. It is exposure. The moment you try to shield yourself against uncertainty, you shield yourself against life itself. You become a statue inside a glass box. You are safe, yes. Nothing can touch you. But you cannot move, nor breathe, nor grow either. You are preserved, like a mummy. And this book is for the living, not for mummies. To the reptilian brain, your inner enemy. To understand why you are addicted to security, you have to understand your hardware. You have an ancient brain, the reptilian brain, amygdala, whose only function is, do not die. Your reptilian brain does not care if you are happy. It does not care if you fulfill your dreams. It does not care if you are legendary. It only cares that you reach tomorrow breathing. For this primitive brain, the unknown, death, leaving the cave, saber-toothed tigers, starting a business, starving, public speaking, expulsion from the tribe and death. That is why you feel that visceral panic when you are about to take a risk. It is not a spiritual intuition telling you don't do it. It is your inner lizard screaming, back to the rock, let's hide. The problem is that we no longer live in the Pleistocene. Today, public speaking does not kill you. Failing in a business does not kill you. No one starves to death for crashing an LLC in the Western world. But you continue to obey fear as if it were a mortal threat. You live your life designed to survive, not to live. You are playing defense in a game that rewards offense. If you spend 80 years protecting your queen and your rooks without moving them, you will end the match with all the pieces intact, but you will have lost the game. And no one will remember your match. Security is the drug that sedates your potential. To the payroll scam, the Christmas turkey. Let's talk about the ultimate icon of modern security, stable employment. They have sold us that selling 40 hours of your life a week in exchange for a fixed monthly deposit is the safe thing. Allow me to present the concept of the Christmas turkey by Nassim Taleb. Imagine a turkey. Each day a farmer feeds him. The turkey thinks, this farmer is my friend. This system is safe. The more time passes, the more confirmation I have that the farmer loves me and takes care of me. My life is an ascending line of security. On day 100, the turkey's security is at its maximum. Day 101 is Thanksgiving Day, and the farmer cuts off his head. The turkey's security was an illusion based on past data. Your job security is the same. You think you are safe because you were paid last month. But in a global economy, with artificial intelligence, crises and pandemics, your job hangs by a very thin thread. If your only source of income depends on the decision of another person, your boss, you are not safe. You are vulnerable. You are a turkey, waiting for November. Real security is not having someone feed you. Real security is knowing how to hunt your own food. The entrepreneur, the artist, the creator, who knows how to generate value from scratch, that is the only one who is secure. Because if the market changes, he adapts. If they fire him, he hires himself. Depending on an external system is the definition of slavery, even if the cage has heating and Wi-Fi. Third, practical atheism, distrusting life. Let's get metaphysical. The obsession with security is a form of practical atheism. Even if you go to church or meditate, if you need to have 100% control and certainty about the future to be at peace, you are declaring, I do not trust the universe. I do not trust my abilities. I do not trust that I will be able to handle whatever comes. You demand guarantees before acting. I will start a business if you assure me I will earn money. I will love if you assure me they won't break my heart. The universe does not negotiate with terrorists, and you, with your demands for certainty, are trying to extort life. Faith, the true spiritual currency, is acting without guarantees. It is jumping and building the wings on the way down. When you cling to what is safe, you are insulting your own divinity. You are saying that you are too small and incompetent to deal with chaos, but you are made of stardust and chaos. You are a child of the storm. You are designed to adapt, to resolve, to create order where there is none. Seeking security is denying your creative nature. It is saying, God, you gave me the power to create worlds, but I prefer to stay in this cubicle filing papers because it is not cold here. It is a waste of divinity. IV, the golden cage, opportunity cost. Everything has a price. The price of freedom is uncertainty. The price of security is your soul. It is not free to stay in that job that you hate, but that pays the bills. You are paying for it with your time, with your enthusiasm, and with your health. You are paying with what economists call opportunity cost. While you are sitting there safe, you are missing out on all the other possible lives you could be living. You are missing out on the life of the traveler, that of the inventor, that of the leader. You are paying with your potential. Security is a golden cage. At first it is comfortable, you have birdseed and water, but soon you realize that your wings are atrophying, and the worst part, you see other birds flying outside. At first you criticize them. Look at those crazy ones, going through cold and hunger. They don't know what stability is. But deep down, you envy them, because they are alive and you are a domestic ornament. A day comes when they open the cage door and you no longer go out. Not because you can't, but because you have forgotten how to fly. The addiction to security has disabled you. Break the bars now while you still have strength in your wings. Tomorrow may be too late. V, the ship in the harbor. You know the phrase, a ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. Let's analyze this in depth. If you leave a ship in the harbor for too long, what happens? Does it stay perfectly preserved? No. It rots. Barnacles stick to the hull. The wood gets damp. The engine rusts from lack of use. The sails get moldy. The harbor ironically destroys the ship faster than the sea. Immobility is corrosive. You are the ship. You are designed to navigate the ocean of uncertainty. Your engines, talents, need revolutions. Your hull, character, needs the pounding of the waves to harden. If you stay moored to the dock of security, you are going to rust. That feeling of apathy, of boredom, of emptiness that you feel on Sunday afternoons, it is the rust of your soul. It is entropy eating a stationary ship. Depression is often simply the result of a lack of vital challenge. Your system is designed for adventure. If you do not give it adventure, it destroys itself. Leave the harbor, face the storm. It is better to sink on the high seas fighting the waves, an epic death, than to rot slowly at the dock, a sad death. But I will tell you a secret. Most of those who go out do not sink. They learn to navigate. Victor's redefining dangerous. Our danger compass is broken. We believe that. Starting a business is dangerous. Leaving a toxic job is dangerous. Investing in oneself is dangerous. Telling the truth is dangerous. But we do not see the real danger of the opposite. It is dangerous to spend 40 years in a job that makes you miserable. That causes cancer, heart attacks, and spiritual suicide. It is dangerous to depend on a single source of income. It is dangerous not to educate oneself. It is dangerous to swallow your words. What you call safe is actually mortal in the long run. It is like smoking. A cigarette does not kill you today, but it kills you in 20 years. Mediocre routine is the tobacco of the soul. What you call dangerous, taking a risk, is actually vitalizing. It is like high-intensity exercise. It hurts at the time, it leaves you breathless, it feels like you're going to die, but it makes you stronger and lengthens your life. You have to reverse your risk map. Be more afraid of mediocrity than failure. Be more afraid of not trying than of losing money. Money is recovered. Time and dignity are not. Third, anti-fragility, benefiting from chaos. Nassim Taleb gave us another vital concept for the 1%, anti-fragility. There are three types of things. Fragile, that which breaks with the blow, a glass cup. Robust, that which stands the blow but does not improve, a rock. Anti-fragile, that which improves with the blow, a muscle, the hydra of Lerner. The seeker of security tries to be robust, to endure, but ends up being fragile. It breaks when the crisis is too large. The warrior of the 1% seeks to be anti-fragile. You need chaos. You need stress. You need risk. When you expose yourself to controlled risks, you become smarter, faster, and stronger. And if you protect yourself from everything, you become weak and useless. Look at overprotected children, helicopter parents. They don't let them climb trees. They don't let them get dirty. They don't let them fail. The result? Anxious adults, unable to deal with life, fragile as glass. You are doing the same to yourself. You are overprotecting yourself. Stop treating yourself like a baby. Treat yourself like a Spartan warrior. Expose yourself to the cold. Expose yourself to rejection. Expose yourself to the possibility of losing. Only in the fire is steel forged. In cotton, only moths are bred. Bait money follows risk. Let's talk about money, since you worry so much about financial security. The metaphysical law of wealth is simple. Money is a reward for the risk assumed and the value provided. The employee earns little because he assumes zero risk. The risk is assumed by the owner. The entrepreneur earns a lot or loses a lot because he assumes all the risk. If you want security, you accept the glass ceiling of a fixed salary. If you want unlimited wealth, you have to accept unlimited uncertainty. You cannot have both. They are opposites on the spectrum. The rich of the 1% are experts in managing uncertainty. They eat uncertainty for breakfast. They learn to be comfortable not knowing what will happen tomorrow, but trusting in their ability to solve it. If you want to enter the 1%, you have to let go of the railing. You have to learn to walk the tightrope without a net. At first, it is terrifying. Then you realize you are a born tightrope walker, and the view from the tightrope is spectacular. The worst-case scenario, fear setting. I'm going to give you a tool to deactivate biological fear, Fear Setting by Tim Ferriss. Your brain tells you, if I leave my job and fail, I will die under a bridge. That is a lie. Let's analyze it rationally. If you take a risk and everything goes wrong, worst-case scenario, will you really die? No. What would happen? Perhaps you lose your savings. Perhaps you have to go back to living with your parents for a while. Perhaps you have to look for another worse job. Perhaps people speak ill of you. Okay, so what? Are those things mortal? No. They are uncomfortable. They are humiliating for the ego. But they are not mortal. Could you recover? Yes. In a few years you would be back. Now look at the best-case scenario. If you take a risk and it goes well, financial freedom, purpose, legacy, pride, travels, impact. The asymmetry is brutal. You are risking temporary discomfort, failure, in exchange for eternal freedom, success. And you are rejecting that bet because you are afraid of discomfort. It is a bad business. Any investor would tell you that you are foolish if you don't take that bet. The risk of staying the same, slow death, is 100%. The risk of trying has at least a percentage of victory. Play the odds. It's the call to insecurity. I want to invite you to be insecure. I want you to embrace instability. Stop looking for firm ground and start learning how to surf. The waves never stop. Tomorrow, do something that scares you. Do something that does not have a guaranteed result. Send that email to the unreachable person. Invest that money in your education. Launch the imperfect project. Tell the universe, I am ready to play without a net. When you do that, the universe respects you. And curiously, when you stop looking for security obsessively, you start to find a new form of security, self-confidence. You no longer trust that the world is stable. You trust that you are capable of navigating any storm. That is the only real security, the one you are wearing. You are alive to experiment, to err, to fall and get up. You are not here to arrive intact at the coffin. Break the bubble wrap that envelops your life. Tear your skin. Get dirty. Living not to die is the saddest way to die while alive. Choose to live to create, even if that means dying trying. Chapter 4. The Hypnotic Drift, the Collective Dream. Most people do not live. They simply exist. They are like wood floating in a river, carried by the current, hitting against rocks, until they finally sink or reach a sea they never chose. They have no rudder, no sail, and they call their tragedy fate. Napoleon Hill. Go out into the street. Look around you. What do you see? You see bodies moving. You see people walking toward the subway, people driving in traffic, people looking at their phones in a restaurant. They seem alive. They have a pulse. They have body temperature. They respond if you call them by name. But metaphysically, they are asleep. They are functional zombies today in your world. They are operating under an automatic program that was installed in their minds decades ago, and that they have never questioned. They get up at the same time. They eat the same food. They have the same trivial conversations. They complain about the same political problems. They watch the same series today in your life right now. They have the same prefabricated opinions they heard on the news. They are not deciding. They are reacting. Welcome to the hypnotic drift. This is the mechanism that nature and society uses to control the masses. It is the gravitational force of mediocrity. If in the previous chapter we talked about how you kill time, chronopathy, here we are going to talk about how time kills you by nullifying your will. Drift is the state in which you cede control of your mind to external influences. You stop being the captain of your ship and become cargo. And cargo does not decide the destination. Cargo is simply transported in this world right now, today now. If you feel stuck, if you feel that the days are blurry copies of each other, it is because you have fallen into the drift. You have entered the collective dream. And if you do not wake up now, you will die dreaming that you lived. To the physics of the drift, the law of least effort. Why does this happen? Why is it so easy to be mediocre? Because the universe is efficient. The universe operates under the law of least effort. Water always seeks the easiest path down. Electricity seeks the path of least resistance. Your brain, as part of the biological universe, also seeks the easy path in your life now. Thinking is difficult. Deciding is energetically costly. Being original is dangerous, so your brain prefers to drift. It prefers to copy what others do. If everyone goes to university, I go. If everyone gets married at 30, I get married. If everyone gets a mortgage, I get a mortgage. Drift is mental inertia now. It is stopping rowing. If you are in a river and you stop rowing, do you stay still? No. The current drags you. Where does it drag you? Down, toward the waterfall. To stay in the same place, you have to row. To move forward, to go to the 1%. You have to row with fury against the current in this world right now today. Drift is so seductive because it is painless at first. It feels good to let yourself go. It feels comfortable not to have to think. It is like freezing in the snow. First you feel cold, then you feel a pleasant warmth and sleepiness, and then you die. The comfort of routine is the hypothermia of the soul now. Tries the hypnotic rhythm, the devil's trap. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, wrote another book in 1938 that his family forbade publishing for 70 years because it was too controversial. It was called Outwitting the Devil. In it, Hill metaphorically interviews the devil, and the devil confesses to him his secret for controlling 98% of humanity now. He does not use demonic possessions or fire. He uses something much more subtle, the hypnotic rhythm. The devil says, I make people start to drift in small things. Let them eat without hunger. Let them spend what they do not have. Let them not have a definite purpose. Once they start to drift, I solidify that habit today now. I solidify that habit with the hypnotic rhythm until they can no longer escape. The hypnotic rhythm is the moment when a habit becomes permanent. It is when your neural networks wire themselves so strongly that you can no longer act otherwise. The smoker who drifts with a cigarette at age 15 is trapped by the rhythm at 30 now. The employee who drifts in a temporary job because they need money now is trapped by the hypnotic rhythm 40 years later, retiring at the same desk. Drift is the prelude to permanent slavery. If you do not have a definite purpose, a clear and obsessive goal, you are automatically a drifter today in your world. There is no middle ground. Either you direct your mind toward a goal, or the devil, entropy the system, directs your mind toward nothingness. Who is at the wheel of your life right now? You or the hypnotic rhythm? 3. The design of the system, the zombie factory. I don't want to put on my conspiracy hat, but we have to analyze the structure of society. The system, educational, financial, media, is not designed to create leaders of the 1%. It is designed to create efficient gears for the machine. It is designed for obedience. Since age 5, they teach you to today in your life now. Stay still in a chair. 2. Ask permission to go to the bathroom. 3. Memorize and repeat what the authority, the teacher, says. 4. Do not question the syllabus. 5. Have a bell ring to tell you when to eat and when to stop. Does it sound familiar? It is the training for the factory. It is the training for the drift right now. They punish you for being different. They medicate you if you have too much energy, ADHD. They ridicule you if you dream too high. When you leave school, the relay is taken by the media and pop culture. They tell you what clothes to wear, what music to listen to, what to fear, pandemics, wars, crises, and what to desire now. They bombard you with cheap dopamine, TikTok, Instagram, pornography, to keep you sedated. A distracted people is a people that does not rebel. A man who is busy watching 5 hours of Netflix does not have time to build an empire that challenges the status quo. The hypnotic drift is not an accident. It is a design feature today. It is a feature of social design. If you are normal, you are a sleepwalker. The 1% is, by definition, abnormal. Being a misfit in a sick society is a sign of mental health. 5 symptoms of a drifter, the diagnosis. How to know if you are a drifter. Napoleon Hill left us a list of symptoms. If you identify with more than 3, you are in grave danger. Read with honesty. Lack of purpose. You get up in the morning without a burning mission. You simply go to work. Lack of own opinion. Your opinions are exact copies today now. They are exact copies of what you hear on your favorite news channel or what your parents say. You have never deeply investigated the opposite side. Chronic procrastination. You know what you have to do, but you never do it. You always have a logical excuse. Constant complaining. You blame the government today now. You blame the economy, your boss, or your family for your situation. You never assume radical responsibility. Emotional spending. You spend everything you earn, or more, to fill an internal void. Psychosomatic illness. You get sick often from mysterious causes, headaches, fatigue. The body expresses the lack of life now. Fear of criticism. You do not do new things because you are terrified of what people will say. The drifter is a leaf in the wind. The non-drifter, the 1%, is a rock in the wind. It has weight. It has its own gravity. V, the gravity of the crabs, your environment. If you try to wake up from the drift, prepare for war. Because the other zombies do not like it when one wakes up. It is called the crab bucket mentality. If you put one crab in a bucket, it gets out easily. If you put in several, when one tries to climb up, the others grab it by the legs and pull it down today in your life. They do not do it out of malice. They do it out of panic. If you get out of the bucket, if you stop drinking alcohol, if you start a business, if you get in shape, you are putting a giant mirror in front of their own mediocrity. Your success reminds them of their failure. Your light makes their shadows look darker now. Then they will try to hypnotize you again. Why are you trying so hard? Relax. That is very risky. Better stay in what is safe. You have changed. You are no longer the same. They will offer you drugs, comfort, validation, laziness, so that you go back to sleep. Most dreamers die here right now today in your life now. They die at the hands of their well-intentioned friends and family who want to protect them. Read, return them to the drift. The 1% has to be ruthless with their environment. You have to cut the lines with the sinking ships. Sometimes that means moving away from childhood friends. Sometimes it means hard boundaries now. Sometimes it means setting hard boundaries with your family. If you stay surrounded by drifters, you will end up drifting by osmosis. You are the average of the 5 people you spend time with. If they are 5 zombies, you will be the 6th. 5. The comfort zone is a death zone. We love the comfort zone. It sounds padded. It sounds warm. But metaphysically, the comfort zone is a death zone. In nature, a system that is in perfect balance and without stress is dead. Life is imbalance. Life is adaptation to stress. When you enter the drift, you seek to maximize your comfort today in your life now. You seek the softest sofa, the easiest job, the shortest route. By doing so, you are signaling to your biology and your spirit that you no longer need to grow. I've already arrived. I'm already comfortable. And when you stop growing, you start to die. Nature eliminates what does not evolve right now, today now. Those who are trapped in the collective dream believe that happiness is the absence of problems. False. Happiness is the ability to solve problems. When you eliminate challenges from your life, drift, you get bored. And boredom is the cancer of the soul. To wake up, you have to voluntarily inject discomfort now. Inject discomfort into your life. Cold showers, getting up earlier, studying difficult things, talking to strangers. Discomfort is the alarm clock. You cannot fall asleep if you have a stone in your shoe. Put stones in your shoe on purpose. 7th, the shock, how the trance is broken. How does one get out of the hypnotic drift? Normally, the universe wakes you up with a slap, a trauma, a serious illness, an unexpected divorce, a bankruptcy, the death of someone close. In that moment of acute pain, the trance is broken. The hypnotic rhythm is interrupted today in your world right now today. You stop acting on automatic because the pain forces you to be present. You ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? How did I get here? Those crises are gifts wrapped in barbed wire. They are the opportunity to get out of the river and grab the rudder. But you don't have to wait for tragedy right now today. That is the slow and painful path. You can wake up by conscious will. You can wake up by weariness. A moment comes when you are sickened by your own mediocrity. You look in the mirror and say, enough. I am tired of being a victim. I am tired of being afraid. I am tired of being a copy. That is the fuel today now. That moment of sacred disgust is the fuel of change. If you are not angry enough with your current situation, you will not change. You need to hate your drift more than you love your comfort. 30, definition of purpose, the anchor. The metaphysical antidote against the drift is only one: definition of purpose. A ship with a clear course does not drift. It cuts the water. It uses the wind. Even if there is a storm, it does not drift. It navigates. Most people do not know what they want. Ask someone, what do you want from life, Sami, today in your world now? They will tell you vague generalities. I want to be happy. I want to have money. I want to be at peace. That is not a purpose. That is a Christmas turkey wish. The universe does not respond to vagueness. Vagueness is the fog where the drift lives. The 1% has crystal clear objectives right now, today now. I want to invoice $1 million selling educational software before December 2026. I want to run an ultra-marathon in the Andes in 6 months. I want to write a book about this in 90 days. When you have a goal that clear, your brain wakes up. The reticular activating system RAS of your brain starts to filter reality. You stop seeing distractions and start seeing opportunities. The negative hypnotic rhythm is broken, and you start to create a new, positive hypnotic rhythm. You start to automate success instead of failure. If you don't have a plan for your life, you will fall into someone else's plan. And someone else has nothing for you now. Jackie swimming upstream, the friction. I am going to tell you the truth. Waking up hurts. Leaving the matrix hurts. Neo's eyes hurt because he had never used them. When you decide to stop drifting and start rowing, you will feel friction. You will feel the headwind. You will feel loneliness because you are moving away from the herd today in your life now. You will feel doubt. You will feel the weight of responsibility. You can no longer blame the government, now it is your fault. That friction is good. Friction is the proof that you are moving. If you do not feel resistance in your life, it is because you are going down. Only when you go up do you feel gravity right now. Embrace the resistance. When everyone tells you that you are crazy, smile. It is the sign that you have come out of the drift. If everyone agrees with you, worry. It means you are still thinking like the average. The path of the 1% is lonely at first, But the views at the top are spectacular today now. And at the top, you will find the other lions who also escaped the flock. Text: The Rebellion of the 1%. This book is a rebellion manual, not a rebellion of burning cars in the street. That is for the masses. That is also drift, an internal rebellion, a rebellion against your own programming, a rebellion against apathy. Decide today that you are going to be the glitch in the system right now, today now. The system expects you to be a passive consumer, rebel by creating. The system expects you to be afraid, rebel by being brave. The system expects you to be distracted, rebel by being focused. You are the protagonist of your movie, but until now, you have let the screenwriter be fear. Rip up the script in your life now. Take the pen, wake up, open your eyes. Look at the zombies around you with compassion, but do not join their funeral march. You have a life to live, and that life requires you to be awake at the wheel. By claiming your consciousness, you break the hypnotic chains and step into the sovereign power of the 1% today. Chapter 5: The Intelligence Trap. Analysis Paralysis. Excessive analysis creates paralysis. Often the person who goes the furthest is not the most intelligent, but the one who is willing to run and figure out the path as they go. Perfectionism is the enemy of done, and what is done always beats the perfect that only lives in your head. I'm going to tell you something that is probably going to hurt your ego, but that you desperately need to hear. Your intelligence is the greatest obstacle to your success. Yes, you read that right. Being smart is killing you. Surely you are the person to whom everyone says how intelligent you are, what potential you have. You got good grades, you read books, you understand complex concepts, you are analytical. And yet you look around and see objectively less intelligent people than you, people who don't read, impulsive people, people who make grammatical errors, having 10 times more success, more money, and more freedom than you. Does it frustrate you? Does it seem unfair to you? You tell yourself it's just that they are lucky, or it's just that they are reckless. It's not luck. It's physics. They have kinetic energy, movement. You have potential energy, storage. In the real world, a 1-ton stone falling, a fool in motion, has more impact than a mountain of gold standing still, a static genius. Welcome to the intelligence trap. Welcome to analysis paralysis. The world does not pay for what you know, it pays for what you do with what you know. And unfortunately, the more you know, the more reasons you find to do nothing. In this chapter, we are going to dismantle your intellect. We are going to learn how to turn off the logical brain to turn on the animal instinct of execution. I, the disaster simulator, your brain in high definition. Why do intelligent people paralyze? Because they have a graphic processor that is too powerful. If you are intelligent, your brain is an expert in scenario simulation. Before taking a step, your mind projects 50 possible futures. If I launch this business, ABC could happen. And since the brain is designed for survival, not for happiness, it gives priority to catastrophic scenarios. The fool only sees the opportunity. Oh, money, I'm going for it. The intelligent person sees the legal risks, the market saturation, the tax burden, and the possibility of public ridicule. The intelligent person sees the cliff in 4K Ultra HD. The fool doesn't even know there is a cliff. Who jumps? The fool. And sometimes they fall, of course, but many times they land, or they learn to fly in the fall. The intelligent person stays on the edge, calculating the wind trajectory, terminal velocity, and air resistance, until it gets dark and they die of cold at the top. Your ability to foresee problems is a curse if you don't have the ability to ignore them and act anyway. You have to understand that your mental simulations are not reality. They are hallucinations of fear disguised as logic. Reality is much more malleable than your intellectual pessimism tells you. Tersan, mental masturbation, passive research. There is an activity that 99% of people confuse with working, but which is actually a waste of time. Research. I'm researching how to start a podcast. I'm reading about how to invest in the stock market. I'm watching tutorials on how to write a book. Listen to me well. Watching tutorials is not working. Reading books is not progress. That is mental masturbation. It gives you the feeling of pleasure and achievement. I am learning. But it produces nothing fertile. There is no offspring. There is no result. It is cheap dopamine. You can spend 10 years learning how to paint and never stain a canvas. Passive learning is a form of procrastination. It is fear in a tuxedo. You tell yourself, I need to know a little more before starting so as not to make mistakes. Lie. You are afraid. The only way to learn is by doing and making mistakes. Her day of real practice, with errors, sweat and blood, is worth more than a year of theory in the library. Stop researching. You already know enough. You probably knew enough 6 months ago. What you lack is not information. It is guts. Thrust, the imposter syndrome, the curse of consciousness. Here is a cruel paradox, the Dunning-Kruger effect. Incompetent people tend to overestimate their ability. They think they are geniuses. Competent people tend to underestimate their ability. They feel like frauds. The more you know about a topic, the more you realize how vast it is and how little you know in comparison. Then, the intelligent person feels like an imposter. Who am I to write this book? There are people who know more than I do. Who am I to charge for this? I'm not an expert yet. That thought is the sign that you are intelligent, yes, but it is also the chain that binds you. While you doubt in your room, full of knowledge, there is an idiot out there with half your talent, selling what you want to sell, writing what you want to write, and charging what you want to charge. Why? Because he doesn't have imposter syndrome. He has the audacity of the ignorant. The market does not reward the one who knows the most. It rewards the one who makes the most noise and delivers the most value, even if it's imperfect. Your intellectual humility is a flaw in the world of business and action. You need a bit of delusional arrogance. You need to believe that even if you don't know everything, you can solve everything. The map is not the territory. Intelligent people love maps. They love 50-page business plans. They love spreadsheets. They believe that if they plan every detail, they will control the outcome. But there is an axiom in general semantics that says, the map is not the territory. The map is flat, static, and made of paper. The territory is mountainous, changing, full of mud and unpredictable weather. You can trace the perfect route on the map, intellect, but when you set foot in the territory, reality, you will find a river that was not on the map, or a storm. The obsessive planner collapses when reality does not match their plan. But my Excel said this would work. Reality laughs at your Excel. The executor, the 1%, knows that the map is only a suggestion. They go out into the territory with a compass and a machete, and they clear the way. Mike Tyson said it better than anyone. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Life is going to punch you in the mouth. It doesn't matter how much you plan. Real intelligence is not the ability to plan to avoid the hit. It is the ability to take the hit and keep moving forward without losing course. Stop polishing the map and start walking. Information obesity, infobesity. We live in the information age, but we die for lack of wisdom. Your brain is obese. You consume podcasts, newsletters, videos, books, Twitter threads. You are an information junkie. You have infobesity. Just as the body gets sick if you eat 5,000 calories and don't move, the mind gets sick if you consume 5,000 pieces of data and don't execute any. That unprocessed information becomes mental fat. It makes you slow. It makes you heavy. It confuses you. When you read 10 different experts, you have 10 different opinions. Expert A says to do intermittent fasting. Expert B says to eat 5 times a day. Expert C says to be vegan. Result: paralysis. You do nothing. You stay fat. You need a low-information diet. Stop consuming. Start creating. The 1% are creators, not consumers. They produce content, they produce businesses, they produce solutions. The 99% consume what the 1% creates. Which side of the counter are you on? Cut the cord. Stop following so many gurus. Stop reading so many self-help books. Ironic, I know. But if after this book you read another without acting, I am hurting you. Stick with a single strategy and execute it until it works or fails. But do not mix. Ready, fire, aim. Traditional logic says, ready, aim, fire. Sounds sensible, right? The problem is that the smart person gets stuck in the aiming part. They aim, adjust the sight, calculate the wind, aim a little more, doubt, aim again, and they never fire. The target moves, the day ends, and the bullet is still in the chamber. The strategy of the 1% is ready, fire, aim, yes, in that order. Ready. Have a general idea. Load the weapon, fire, shoot, launch the product, publish the video, make the call. Aim. See where the bullet fell. Did you miss? Correct. Fire again. Real feedback only comes after the shot. You cannot know if your business idea is good by thinking about it. You can only know by selling it. The market is the only judge, and the market does not judge thoughts. It judges offers. Shoot fast, fail fast, correct fast. That is evolutionary iteration. Evolution does not plan the perfect animal. Evolution launches millions of mutations, shots, and sees which one survives. Be like evolution. Sevati Occam's razor, simplicity. Intelligence tends toward complexity. The smart person likes to create complex systems, intricate automations, 20-step sales funnels. Because complexity makes them feel intelligent, but complexity is fragile. Occam's razor says, the simplest explanation is usually the correct one. In business and life, the simplest action is usually the effective one. Do you want to sell? Talk to a person and offer them something. You don't need a website or a logo or an LLC. You need a client. Do you want to get in shape? Lift heavy things and eat less. You don't need the trendy supplement or the biomechanical machine. Sophistication is the refuge of those who don't want to do the hard work. Go back to basics. Brute force applied with consistency beats a complex strategy applied halfway. Don't look for the hack. Don't look for the secret. Look for the hammer and the nail. And strike. 30. Intellectual opportunity cost. While you analyze whether you should buy Bitcoin or if you should buy that property, or if you should talk to that girl, time passes. The price goes up. The property is sold. The girl goes with someone else, probably dumber, but faster. That is the opportunity cost. The price of your analysis is everything you lost while you were analyzing. There is a military phrase that says, a good plan violently executed today is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Speed is an asset. In war, and life is war against entropy, speed kills. If you move fast, you break the enemy's or the market's defenses. If you stop to think, you become an easy target. Your intelligence tells you, wait, let's gather more data. Your survival instinct must say, move or die. Learn to value speed over precision. Precision can be adjusted on the fly. Lost speed is not recovered. Tag selective ignorance the blessing. Sometimes knowing too much is a disadvantage. If you had known how difficult it is to raise a child, maybe you wouldn't have had one. But you had one, and you learned, and it's the best thing in your life. If entrepreneurs knew the real statistic of failure, 90%, nobody would start a business. Success requires a dose of selective ignorance. You have to ignore the statistics. You have to ignore the realists. You have to ignore the probabilities. Like Han Solo in Star Wars, never tell me the odds. Knowing that something is impossible makes it impossible for you. The fool who doesn't know it's impossible goes and does it. The bumblebee aerodynamically should not be able to fly. Its body is too big for its wings. Scientists proved it. But the bumblebee doesn't know physics, so it flies anyway. Be a bumblebee. Ignore the data that limits you. Use your intelligence to solve problems, not to find excuses. Converting the intellect into a tool, not a master. I am not telling you to get a lobotomy. Your intelligence is a wonderful tool, but it is a terrible master. The logical mind must be the servant of the will. Right now, your mind is the master. She dictates when you act, never based on fear. You have to reverse the hierarchy. You, the consciousness, will decide the what and the when now. Your mind takes care of the how. Don't ask your mind, should we do this? She will tell you no, it's dangerous. Tell your mind, we are going to do this. Find a way to make it work. When you give it a clear order, your intelligence starts working on solutions instead of objections. Put your brain to work for you, not against you. Time to practice the ignorance diet. To cure analysis paralysis, I prescribe you this. 1. Information fast. For 7 days, forbidden to consume educational or self-help content. No podcasts, no books, no tutorials. You can only consume fiction to rest, or music. 2. Forced production. All that time you used to spend consuming, use it producing. Write, record, build, call. 3. The 70% rule, courtesy of Jeff Bezos. Make decisions when you have 70% of the information. If you wait for 90%, you are late. With 70%, you have enough to launch yourself and correct the rest along the way. Chapter 6, The Personal Big Bang. The Physics of the Start. An object at rest tends to remain at rest unless an external force acts upon it. Your life is that object, and the external force will not come from outside. It has to be an internal explosion. The universe did not begin with a polite whisper. It began with a big bang. Your new life must do so as well. Let's talk about rockets. I want you to visualize a space launch. The Saturn V rocket, the most powerful machine ever built by man, weighed almost 3,000 tons, a metal tower full of explosives. To lift that monster off the ground, the F-1 engines had to burn 20 tons of fuel per second. The noise was so loud it could melt concrete and kill someone a kilometer away. It could kill just by acoustic vibration. It is pure violence. It is fire, smoke, and shaking. Now here is the crucial fact that explains why you remain stuck. 80% of the rocket's fuel is consumed just in the first minutes of takeoff, only to leave the atmosphere, only to overcome the initial gravity. Once the rocket reaches space and enters orbit, it turns off the main engines, and it travels at 28,000 kilometers per hour without spending almost any energy. It simply floats. It glides. This is the perfect metaphor for your life, and for any project you want to undertake. You are on the launch pad. You are heavy. You are full of doubts, fears, old habits, and social conditioning. You have a massive gravity pulling you down, and you wonder why it is so difficult to start. You wonder why trying a little bit doesn't work. You wonder why soft motivation, pretty videos, and positive affirmations are useless. Because to move 3,000 tons of inertia, you don't need a little nudge. You need a big bang. You need kinetic violence. You need to be willing to burn 80% of your mental and emotional fuel right now at the start. Most people fail because they try to take off with balance. They want to go up to space without making noise, without burning fuel, without making themselves uncomfortable, keeping their hobbies and their free time intact. Result: the rocket does not move. They stay on the ground, frustrated, burning fuel uselessly without lifting a single centimeter off the ground. In this chapter, we are going to learn the physics of the start. We are going to learn that the hardest part is, literally, the first few millimeters, and that if you manage to break the initial gravity, the rest is inertia. By the law of inertia, Newton does not forgive. Isaac Newton formulated the first law of motion, also known as the law of inertia. It says more or less, every body perseveres in its state of rest or of uniform motion in a right line, unless it is compelled to change that state by forces impressed thereon. Translated to your biological reality, if you are stopped, you will tend to. You will tend to remain stopped. Your natural state is the sofa. It is inaction. Your brain, your friends, your environment, and your own body chemistry conspire to keep you in the state of rest. It's not that you are lazy, it's that you are matter, and matter hates to change states. Matter is conservative. To change from rest to motion, you need to apply a disproportionate force. You cannot apply a force equal to the resistance. You have to apply a greater force. People believe that starting to go to the gym, leaving an addiction, or starting a business should be fluid or natural. Lie, it is unnatural. It is a violation of your inertia. It is going to hurt. It is going to require a titanic effort to break the static seal. You must expect it to be difficult. You must expect your body to scream. If you expect it to be easy and you encounter Newton's inertia, you will give up thinking that something is wrong with me, or that it is not the time. Nothing is wrong with you. It is elementary physics. Gravity hates you because you want to fly. Gravity is jealous. Accept that the start is a thermonuclear war against gravity and prepare yourself to fight. 2. Static friction versus kinetic friction. Here is another concept of physics that will blow your mind and explain all your procrastination. Friction. Imagine that you have to push a broken-down car in neutral. You lean against the bumper. You push. It doesn't move. You push harder. You grunt. Your legs hurt. You sweat. It doesn't move. It seems like the wheels are stuck to the asphalt with industrial glue. This is called static friction. Yapom amu. It is the force that prevents you from initiating movement between two surfaces at rest. It is very high. It is a wall. But suddenly, creak! The car moves a millimeter. You keep pushing with all your soul. The wheels turn, and suddenly the car rolls. And now, curiously, you can keep the car in motion with half the effort you used to start it. You can even push it with one hand while you jog beside it. This is called kinetic friction, mukedo. Physics dictates that static friction is always greater than kinetic friction. It always costs more to start than to continue. Burn this into your mind. Writing the first sentence of your book costs more mental energy and glucose than writing the next 10 pages. Making the first sales call costs more fear than making the next 50. Putting on your shoes and going out the door costs more willpower than running. Running 10 kilometers. 99% of people give up during the static friction phase. They push a little, see that it's hard, see no movement, and say, "Ugh, this is very difficult. I don't have the strength. It must be that this isn't for me." They don't know they are millimeters away from breaking the barrier and entering the kinetic zone. The kinetic zone is where everything becomes easier. The secret of the 1% is that they know the pain is temporary and is concentrated at the beginning. They know they only have to suffer for the first few seconds or the first few days. Their mantra is, break the static, break the static. I only have to move it 1 centimeter. Once you move, physics changes sides and gets on your side. The third, the rocket theory burning the ships. Let's go back to the Saturn V rocket. To take off, the rocket needs violence. There are no soft starts in massive success. There are no Zen takeoffs. If you want to change your life radically, you need a period of total imbalance. Forget the modern and soft concept of work-life balance at the beginning. The rocket does not seek balance while taking off. It seeks thrust. If the rocket tried to save fuel at takeoff to have a more balanced trip, it would fall and explode on the pad. During your startup phase, the first 30, 60, or 90 days of any great project, you have to become obsessed. You have to be a maniac. You have to tell your friends, "You are not going to see me for 3 months." You have to tell your family, "I need total concentration. I am not available." You have to sleep less, temporarily. You have to eat fast. You have to breathe your project. You are burning 80% of your vital fuel. It is exhausting. Yes. It is unsustainable in the long term. Yes. If you keep going like this for 10 years, you die. But it is the only way to escape gravity. Mediocre people try to start little by little, calmly, without getting stressed. And gravity swallows them. They do not reach escape velocity. To get out of the orbit of mediocrity, you need to go at Mach 3. You need a big bang. Make an explosion of massive activity. Call 100 clients in one day. Write 5 chapters in a weekend. Record 20 videos in one night. Create a shock to your system. That violence breaks the inertia and tells your brain. It tells your brain that this is serious. First activation energy, the spark. In chemistry, you can have a barrel full of gasoline and plenty of oxygen around. You have all the potential for a massive explosion that changes the landscape. But if nothing happens, the gasoline just sits there forever, slowly evaporating. What is missing? The activation energy, the spark. You need a local temperature spike to initiate the chain reaction. You are the gasoline barrel. You have talent, ideas, dreams, and capacity. But you are inert. You are cold. You need to be your own spark. And the spark is not inspiration. The spark is not waiting for the muses. The spark is mechanical action. Many wait to feel inspired to start. That is waiting for the barrel to catch fire by spontaneous combustion. It rarely happens. You have to light the match yourself. How? By forcing physical action, even if you don't feel like it. Action precedes emotion. Don't wait to feel like working. Work, and the desire. Work, and the desire will appear. Movement generates heat. Heat generates the spark. The spark generates the explosion. If you feel apathetic, do push-ups, shout, write nonsense, move matter to ignite the spirit. V. Imperfect massive action, vomiting the draft. The biggest break on the personal Big Bang is perfectionism, which we already talked about. The rocket does not come out clean. It comes out shedding parts, burning paint, shaking, making an infernal noise. Your start must be dirty. Adopt the philosophy of imperfect massive action. If you want to launch a YouTube channel, record 10 horrible videos with your phone and upload them this week. If you want to write, vomit the words onto the paper without correcting spelling or style. If you want to sell, talk to people even if your voice trembles and you don't have a business card. Quantity creates quality. Inaction creates doubts. Your goal in the startup phase is not to do it well, it is to do it. It is to move the wheel. It is to break the static friction. A mediocre plan executed today with violence is infinitely superior to a perfect plan executed next week with timidity. Make noise, break things, make mistakes. Ask for forgiveness later, but move. The universe cannot steer a car that is parked. That's the 2-minute rule, hacking the brain. If the idea of the Big Bang overwhelms and paralyzes you, use reverse psychology on your reptilian brain. Your brain fears the giant task, writing a 300-page book. It sees it as an insurmountable mountain and activates inertia to protect you from energy expenditure. Cheat it. Tell it, I'm only going to write for 2 minutes. I'll only put on my running shoes, I'm not going to run marathons. I'll only open the laptop and write the title. This reduces the necessary activation energy. It's easier to push a toy car than a truck. Turn the giant task into a toy car. Once you have written for 2 minutes, you have broken static friction. The law of inertia plays in your favor. You are already writing. Continuing to write is now easier than stopping. Newton helps you. An object in motion tends to remain in motion. The hard part is not running. The hard part is tying your laces and leaving the house. Hack the start, make it ridiculously small at first, but do it immediately. 7th, momentum, the juggernaut. When you manage to overcome the takeoff, magic happens. You enter momentum, impetus. The rocket reaches space, gravity decreases, air resistance disappears. Suddenly, things begin to flow. Opportunities come to you that you weren't looking for. You feel like you have infinite energy. Ideas sprout on their own. People look at you and say, wow, how lucky they are. Everything works out for them. It seems like it costs them no effort. It's not luck. It's momentum. It is mass multiplied by velocity. Da Pimba Dallas. You have become a freight train at 100 km/h. If a freight train at full speed encounters a brick wall 1 meter wide, it encounters a problem, it goes right through it, and the wall explodes into 1,000 pieces. The train doesn't even notice. When you were standing still, a little pebble on the track stopped you. Now that you have momentum, you are unstoppable. You are a juggernaut. The goal of the Big Bang is not to work hard forever. It is to reach momentum as soon as possible. Because in momentum, success becomes automatic. But remember a vital warning. Momentum is jealous. If you stop, you lose it. If you stop pushing, friction slows you down, and you have to start all over again from static friction, which is hell. That's why the 1% never stop completely. Even when they rest, they keep the engine idling. They never let the rocket touch the ground again. Maintaining flight is easy. Taking off again is costly. Waste, the longevity of takeoff. There is an inevitable side effect of takeoff physics. When the rocket goes up, it leaves the launch tower behind. It leaves the ground behind. Your personal Big Bang is going to move you away from your current environment. It is physical law. By accelerating your frequency and your action, you will leave behind friends. You will leave behind friends who prefer inertia and Friday beer. You will leave behind family who want you safe and still on the ground. You will feel loneliness. Space is silent and lonely at first. Many sabotage themselves at this exact point. They feel the cold of loneliness, they get scared, and they turn off the engines. They turn them off to fall back to earth and be accompanied in mediocrity. Don't do it. The loneliness of takeoff is temporary. It is the filter. When you reach orbit, at the level of the 1%, you will find other rockets. You will find other crazies who also paid the price of gravity. And those relationships will be of a higher quality. They will be flight relationships, not ground relationships. But first, you have to be willing to break the gravity of your current tribe. You have to be willing to be the weirdo who works while everyone else is having fun, the obsessed one who doesn't go to the party. It is the price of fuel, pay the price. Nanki, there is no try, there is only force. Yoda was right, but we will explain it with physics. Do or do not, there is no try. Physically, trying means applying a force equal to the friction. If the car requires 100 newtons to move and you apply 100 newtons, I try, the net result is zero movement and a lot of tiredness. Doing means applying 101 newtons or more. Erase the word try from your vocabulary. It is a word for losers. When you say I'm going to try to get up early, you have already failed. You are programming your brain for defeat. You are assuming that gravity will win and you are preparing your excuse. Say, I am going to get up. It is a declaration of war. It implies that you are going to apply the necessary force, whatever it may be, to overcome the resistance. If you have to set 5 alarms on the other side of the room, you set them. If you have to throw a bucket of cold water in your face, you do it. You don't negotiate with physics, you master it with superior force. X the countdown. The launch is now. You have been on the launch pad for too long. You have checked the systems 1,000 times. Analysis paralysis. You have filled the tank, motivation, and let it empty and evaporate. The rocket is rusting under the rain of doubt. It is time to press the red button. Do not look for more advice. Do not look for more signs from the universe. The signal is your frustration. The signal is the dull pain of not being who you know you are. Your Big Bang starts with a physical act, not mental, physical. Today, now, before this audio ends. Close your eyes for a second, visualize the fire of the engines, and do something violent. Delete that app that distracts you. Throw the pack of cigarettes in the trash and destroy it. Buy the plane ticket, publish the post, send the message, make a loud noise, break the silence of your inaction. Let the universe find out that you have awakened. Let gravity tremble before your will. Chapter 7. The Guillotine of Focus, Kill to Live. The word decision comes from the Latin root decidere, which means to cut. Making a true decision is not choosing what you're going to do. It is taking an axe and murdering all other possible options so that there is no turning back. If you are not willing to kill your plans B, your plan A will never work. The man who chases 2 rabbits starves. You have a serious problem. And it is not the problem you think you have. You think your problem is that you lack opportunities. You think you lack resources, time, or contacts. You are wrong. Your problem is exactly the opposite. You have too many options. You are drunk on possibilities. You have indigestion of potential. You want to be a writer, but you also want to be a cryptocurrency investor. And you also want to travel the world as a digital nomad. And you also want to have a bodybuilder's body. And you also want to learn to program artificial intelligence. And the worst part, you want to do it all at once. You're an ocean 1 centimeter deep. You encompass a lot. You cover a lot of ground, but you wet nothing. You evaporate with the first sun because you have no depth. The 1% operate in a diametrically opposite way. They are a geyser, a jet of pressurized water concentrated on a tiny point of reality. They drill through the rock. They reach the core, they strike oil. Modern society sells you the romantic lie of the Renaissance man or the multitasking woman. They tell you that you can have it all. It is a lie designed to keep you mediocre. You can have it all, yes, but not at the same time. If you try to catch 2 rabbits at once, what happens? It's not that you catch one and the other escapes. It's that you catch neither. Both escape and you starve in the forest, tired of running in zigzags, exhausted and empty. In this chapter, we are going to bring out the guillotine. We are going to learn the art of strategic sacrifice. For your big dream to live, your 10 other pretty little dreams must die today. Either physics of pressure, laser versus light bulb. Let's go back to physics to understand why your dispersion keeps you poor and frustrated. Imagine a 100-watt incandescent light bulb. You turn it on. It illuminates an entire room. It is a soft, pleasant, diffuse light. You can read under it. You can dine under it. It hurts no one. Now take those same 100 watts of energy, exactly the same amount of photons, but focus them on a microscopic point. Force all that energy to travel in a single coherent direction. What do you have? A laser. That same laser, with the same amount of energy as the harmless bulb, can cut steel. It can perform eye surgery. It can send information to the moon. What is the difference? It is not the amount of energy. You already have energy. You have 24 hours like Elon Musk. It is the impact surface. You are a light bulb. You spread your energy between your bread and butter job, your side project, your partner, Netflix, political news, the gym, video games, and social media. You illuminate everything a little. You warm the environment a bit, but you change nothing. You cut nothing. You leave no mark on reality. The 1% is a laser. They take all their obsession, all their rage, all their talent, and direct it to one single objective over a sustained period of time. They pierce reality until they break it and find the gold. If you want massive impact, you have to reduce your attack surface. You have to become narrow to become deep. Theas or decidere, the art of cutting. Etymology is wise and unforgiving. The word decision comes from the Latin de off plus cadere, to cut, kill. It is the same root as incision, cut into, homicide, killing a man, or suicide, killing oneself. To decide is, linguistically and spiritually, a violent act. When you say yes to one thing, you have a moral obligation to say a bloody no to 100 other things. The problem is that you want to keep all doors open just in case. I'm going to try this dropshipping business, but I'll keep my resume updated on LinkedIn just in case. And I'm also going to study for a master's degree in case the first thing fails. That is not deciding. That is playing not to lose. And the universe does not respect cowards who play not to lose. The universe opens up before those who play to win. The Chinese general Sun Tzu and the conqueror Hernan Cortés applied the same ancient strategy, burning the ships. When they arrived in enemy territory, they ordered their own ships to be burned on the shore. They gathered their soldiers and told them as they watched the wood burn, "Either we win or we die here. There is no going home. The only way to return is in the enemy's ships, after having defeated them." The level of focus, adrenaline, and ferocity of a soldier who has no ship to return to is 1,000 times superior to that of one who knows he can swim away if things get ugly. Your plans B are your ships. They are the reason you don't fight with all your heart in your plan A. As long as you have a psychological safety net, you won't jump with the strength necessary to reach the other shore. Bring out the guillotine. Cut off the retreat. Kill the options. Make success your only option for biological survival. Thirst, the 25-5 rule, the Buffett method. An apocryphal but brutal story is told about Warren Buffett and his personal pilot, Mike Flint. The pilot told Buffett that he had many goals in life and felt he wasn't making progress in any of them. Buffett gave him a 3-step exercise. Step 1. Write a list of your 25 most important goals for the rest of your life. The pilot took some time, but he did it. Step 2. Now, look at the list and circle the 5 absolutely crucial ones, the ones that, if you don't fulfill, you will feel your life was a failure. The pilot sweated, hesitated, but chose 5. Step 3. Buffett asked, "What are you going to do with the other 20? The pilot replied with confidence, "Well, I'll focus soul and heart on the 5 main ones, but I'll work on the other 20 in my spare time, weekends, or when I have a gap. They are not priorities, but they are important." Buffett yelled at him, "No, you are wrong. Those 20 goals you didn't circle are your avoid-at-all-cost list. You must not give them a second of attention, not a thought, until you have fulfilled the first 5. Why? Because goals 6 through 25 are the dangerous ones. Bad or stupid goals are not a problem. You discard those easily. The problem is the good goals. Good is the enemy of great. Those 20 intermediate goals are attractive enough to distract you. They give you gratification. They seem noble. But they are not vital enough to change your life. They are energy vampires. They steal the marginal time you should be dedicating to achieving mastery in the top 5. You have to be ruthless. Throw that list in the trash. Your hobby of learning guitar, if you're not going to be a professional musician, is stealing time from your business. Your obsession with gourmet cooking, if you're not going to be a chef, is stealing mental energy from your writing. Choose your battle. You can't win them all. The cemetery is full of people who tried to win 25 battles and lost them all due to lack of ammunition. For context, switching cost, multitasking is for idiots. Your brain cannot do two things at once that require cognition. It is biologically impossible. What you call multitasking is actually switch tasking, rapid task switching. You switch from writing an email to looking at a WhatsApp notification and then back to the email. You think you are efficient. You think you are a juggler. Neuroscience says you are a cognitive inept. Every time you switch contexts, your brain takes an average of 23 minutes to return to the deep level of concentration, flow, you had before the interruption. There remains an attention residue from the previous task, staining the new one. If you look at your mobile every 10 or 15 minutes, you never enter the state of flow, deep work. You live in a state of permanent, superficial, and fragmented residual attention. Your functional IQ drops about 10 points when you multitask. It is equivalent to working drunk or after not having slept. The 1% work in blocks of deep focus. They adopt monk mode, mobile in another room, or better, in a safe with a timer. Door locked, 0 notifications, internet disconnected if necessary. 4 hours of deep, focused work are worth more, produce more, and generate more wealth than 12 hours of distracted work in an office full of interruptions. Protect your attention as if it were your bank account, because in fact it is the source of your bank account. If you let anyone into your mind, a notification, a call, an intrusive thought, you are a house without doors in a dangerous neighborhood. They are going to steal everything you have. Pruning the tree, the necessary pruning. Any expert gardener knows a painful truth. For a rose bush to give the largest and prize-winning roses, it must be pruned savagely. Branches must be cut. And not just dead or diseased branches are cut. That's easy. The hard part is that sometimes you have to cut living, healthy branches full of buds that are sucking up resources, sap, but are not in the main direction of growth or are competing with the main branch. It hurts to cut a healthy branch. It hurts to say no to a good opportunity. Hey, I invite you to give a talk at this event. It's a good opportunity. It feeds the ego. Hey, do you want to partner on this project? It seems fun and profitable. Hey, let's go on this trip. If those things do not move you directly and quickly toward your number one objective, they are parasitic branches. You have to cut them. If you do not prune your life, your energy disperses in 1,000 directions, and you end up being a mediocre, tangled, and weak bush instead of a giant oak that touches the sky. Learn to say no. The no is the blade of the guillotine. The yes is expensive. The yes costs time, costs energy, costs commitment. The no buys freedom. Say no to 99% of things so you can say a thundering, massive, and obsessive yes to the only thing that matters. YOMO versus FOMO. The modern world suffers from a pandemic of FOMO, fear of missing out. You see Instagram and everyone is traveling, or at exclusive parties, or buying the trendy cryptocurrency, and you feel anxiety in your stomach. Am I falling behind? Should I be doing that too? And because of that fear, you try to be everywhere. You go to the party even though you don't want to. You invest in what is fashionable without understanding it. You dilute yourself. You become a copy of a copy. The 1% practice JOMO, joy of missing out. They enjoy not being at the party. They enjoy not knowing what Netflix series everyone is talking about. They enjoy not being up to date with toxic news. Why? Because they know that while others are distracted by the noise and chasing novelty, they are building their empire in silence. They are missing out on mediocrity to gain excellence. You have to accept being socially boring for a season. While they discuss politics, football, or gossip at the bar, you are studying, training, or creating in the cave. Let them have the FOMO. You have the focus. You keep the result. Serve-un essentialism less but better. Greg McKeown, in his book Essentialism, poses the key question you should tattoo on your forehead. Is this the most important thing I could be doing with my time and resources right now? If the answer is no, stop doing it. We live accumulating. We accumulate tasks, commitments, objects, subscriptions. Our life is a storage room full of things that might be useful someday. Apply the guillotine of radical minimalism. Simplify your business. One product, one avatar, one sales channel. Become a millionaire with one before adding the second. Simplify your diet. Simplify your wardrobe. Steve Jobs and Zuckerberg always wore the same clothes, so as not to spend a single joule of energy deciding what to wear. The fewer trivial decisions you make, the more energy you will have for the big decisions. Decision fatigue is real. You have a limited battery of good decisions a day. Don't spend it deciding what to eat for breakfast or what filter to put on a photo. Automate the trivial. Eliminate the superfluous. Focus on the essential. 30. Obsession is a superpower. Average society tells you that obsession is bad, that it is a pathology. They tell you that you should be balanced, moderate, normal. We already talked about this. Balance does not change the world. Balance does not launch rockets. Look at the greats of history. Michael Jordan, Elon Musk, Mozart, Picasso, Kobe Bryant. They were all obsessive-compulsive with their art. They ate, slept, and breathed their purpose. The guillotine of focus creates obsession. When you cut everything else out, you are left with only one thing, and that thing becomes your world. You become a master in it because you have no other distraction. Mastery requires total immersion. Don't be afraid to get obsessed. Obsession is simply focus sustained over time. It is what it takes to break the barrier of mediocrity. Allow yourself to be monomaniacal for a season. Tell the world, right now I only exist for this, the rest does not exist. The results will amaze you. Magic happens in the depths, not on the surface. Nice killing your previous self. The guillotine doesn't just cut activities. Sometimes it has to cut identities. This is the most painful part. To become who you want to be, you have to kill who you are today. Perhaps your current identity is the party friend who is always available. If you want to be an elite athlete or a high-performance CEO, that identity has to die. You can no longer go to those parties. You can no longer be available. You have to disappoint your drinking friends. Perhaps your identity is the victim to whom everything goes wrong and needs to be comforted. You have to guillotine that narrative. You have to stop telling that story and stop seeking pity. Losing an identity hurts. It is a death of the ego. Your friends and family will tell you, "You've changed. You're not the same." You will reply, "I hope so. Because if I hadn't changed, I would be stuck in the same place as you." Don't drag corpses from your past. Cut the umbilical cord with your old version. Have a funeral for it and move on. X, the million-dollar question, the one thing. We end this chapter with the definitive tactical tool. The next time you have to choose between two options, or feel you don't have time, or your to-do list overwhelms you, ask yourself the guillotine question, popularized by Gary Keller in his book, The One Thing. What is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Look for the lead domino. Sometimes we do 100 small things, answering emails, organizing the desk, designing business cards, to avoid doing the one big and scary thing, calling the client and asking for the money. Ignore the 100 small things. Go for the big one. If you knock down the big domino, the small ones fall by themselves or stop mattering. If you get the big client, you don't need to do as much small marketing. If you write the book, you don't need to explain your ideas one by one. Focus on the highest leverage activity. Everything else is noise. Everything else must pass through the guillotine. Now do the exercise. Look at your schedule. Look at your list of projects. What is extra? What is there only out of commitment, out of fear of saying no, or out of momentum from the past? Bring out the axe. Have no mercy. Start cutting off the heads of zombie projects. Your future will thank you, because for the first time in your life you will have all your energy available to win. Chapter 8. Fear as Fuel, Transmutation. The hero and the coward feel exactly the same thing, fear. The only difference is what they do with it. The coward uses fear as a signal to retreat. The hero uses fear as the signal to attack. Don't wait to not be afraid. Do it trembling, but do it. Fear is not a wall. It is high-octane gasoline waiting for you to set it on fire. You have been lied to about fear. Your whole life you have been told that fear is a bad thing. They have told you that you should seek inner peace. They have told you that you must overcome your fears as if they were monsters that must be killed in order to live in peace. They sell you courses to live without fear. That is a biological and spiritual fantasy. If you live without fear, you are dead or a lobotomized psychopath. Fear is a fundamental biological reaction. It is adrenaline. It is cortisol. It is electricity running through your nervous system at full speed today in your life now. Fear is energy. And the first law of thermodynamics tells us that energy is neither created nor destroyed, only transformed. You have been trying to destroy your fear by repressing it, ignoring it, medicating it. That is why you are exhausted. Trying to destroy energy requires an immense force today. It is like trying to stop a train with your hands. The 1% do not destroy their fear. They transmute it. They eat it. They digest it. And they turn it into fury, into focus, into art, into money, and into power. In this chapter, we are going to stop running from the monster in your world now. We are going to turn around, put a saddle on it and ride it toward our goal. You are going to learn emotional alchemy. You are going to learn that that knot in your stomach is not a stop sign, but a 100% charged battery that tells you systems ready for combat, right now today. The physiology of power, anxiety versus excitement. Let's go to pure biology. Imagine two scenarios. Scenario A, you are in a dark alley and you see a guy with a knife. Scenario B, you are on a roller coaster about to fall on the biggest drop. In both cases, your body does exactly the same thing today in your world now. Your heart accelerates, tachycardia. 2, your palms sweat. 3, your breathing becomes shallow. 4, your blood goes from the stomach to the muscles, butterflies. 5, your pupils dilate. Physiologically, fear, scenario A, and excitement, enthusiasm, scenario B, are identical twins right now. It is the same arousal, activation of the sympathetic system. The only difference between paralyzing terror and maximum euphoria is not the body, it is the mind. It is the label you put on it. In the alley, your mind labels the sensation as danger, I'm going to die, panic. Result, paralysis or uncontrolled flight. On the roller coaster, your mind labels the sensation as fun, adventure, adrenaline. Result, screams of joy and hands up. What does this mean for you? It means that when you feel that fear before speaking in public or launching your business now, or before approaching that person, it is not weakness. It is your body giving you extra resources. It is giving you more oxygen, more blood, and more reaction speed. You interpret that extra energy as anxiety and try to calm it. Oh, I have to relax in your world today now. No, do not relax. If you relax, you waste the gasoline. You have to relabel the sensation. When you feel the knot in your stomach, say out loud, I am excited, I am ready. Do not lie saying, I am calm. Your body knows you are not. Tell the biological truth today, now. I am activated. Use that tachycardia to speak with more passion. Use that shaking to move faster. Anxiety is simply enthusiasm without breath. Breathe and use it. By shifting your perspective, you convert a perceived threat into an engine of peak performance and unstoppable momentum in your existence now. The compass of fear, the magnetic north. Fear is a geographic indicator. In the map of your life, fear always points to the north of your growth. Why aren't you afraid of watching television? Because there is no growth there. Why aren't you afraid of eating pizza? Because there is no challenge today in your life now. Why are you afraid of writing that book? Because you care. Because it requires you to evolve. Because there is a risk of rejection, and rejection hurts the ego. Stephen Pressfield, in The War of Art, says, the more fear we have of a work or calling, the more sure we can be that we have to do it. Fear is the compass. If you have two options in life and one gives you fear and the other gives you comfort, the one that gives you fear is the path. Always, without exceptions. Fear is telling you, there is magic here. There is a treasure guarded by a dragon, right now, today, now. If there is no dragon, there is no treasure. If your current life does not scare you, it is because you are living in a dead zone. You are playing at level 1 of the video game when you have level 50. Search for fear. Track it like a bloodhound in this world right now today. Where it smells of fear, there is your next level of income, your next level of relationship, and your next level of consciousness. Fear is not a no-entry sign. It is a sign of entry reserved for the 1%. Follow it with the certainty that greatness lies just beyond the barrier of your trembling now. Third, the hierarchy of fears, terror versus scare. To use fear as fuel, you have to learn to pit two fears against each other. The human brain is bad at calculating long-term risks, but very good at reacting to immediate threats. Right now, your immediate fear is, if I make that sales call, they can say no in your world now. And I will feel bad for 10 minutes. Fear of rejection. That fear paralyzes you. To overcome it, you do not need courage. You need a bigger fear. You need to summon the terror of regret. Visualize your future. Visualize that you do not make the call right now today. Visualize that 10 years pass. You stay the same. You are broke. You are alone. You look in the mirror and see a failure who never tried. Feel that terror. That is real fear. Compared to that, the fear of having the phone hung up on you is ridiculous. It is a joke today now. You have to use the big fear to devour the small fear. It is as if you were hesitating to jump a wall because you might scrape your knee. But if you put a hungry lion behind you, you jump the wall without thinking about the knee. Regret is the lion today in your life now. Mentally place the lion of regret behind you every morning. When you are lazy or afraid to act, look back. Look into the eyes of the lion, your wasted life. You will see how, suddenly, doing that difficult task seems like the safest option. The 1% are not braver right now. They are not braver. They are just more afraid of not living than of failing. By weaponizing the inevitability of your own demise, you forge a resolve that slices through trivial anxieties like a hot knife through butter, propelling you into the action that defines a legendary life now. IV Dirty Fuel, the Shadow. Let's talk about something politically incorrect. Light and love are great for maintaining you, but sometimes they are not enough to start you. Sometimes to get out of the mud, you need dirty fuel. You need to use your dark side, your shadow right now, today, in your world now. You need to use rage, spite, envy, and the desire for revenge. Wait, this doesn't sound very spiritual. I don't care how it sounds. I care that it works. Michael Jordan is the best example of this. He invented offenses. He looked for someone who had spoken badly of him now. He used that anger to destroy the rival on the court. He used the dark side. If someone told you that you were worth nothing, use it. If your ex left you for someone with more money, use it. If your teacher told you that you would end up in jail, use it right now. Do not forgive yet. Take that rage, encapsulate it in your rocket engine and burn it. Say, I am going to show them who I am. They are going to eat their words. That energy is nuclear. It is dirty, yes. It gives off black smoke. But it has a brutal thrust today now. Use it to get out of the initial gravity, static friction. Once you are up, once you have had success, then you can let it go, forgive, heal, and move to clean fuel, purpose, love, contribution. But do not try to be a saint when you are in hell right now, today, now. Use what you have at hand. If you have stones, throw stones. If you have hate, use hate as gasoline to build, not to destroy. The best revenge is not damage to the other, it is your massive success. Harnessing your primal drives provides the raw power needed for the breakthrough. The paradox of confidence, the egg and the chicken. People say, when I have confidence in myself, I will do it. This is a metaphysical calculation error. Confidence does not come before action. Confidence is the result of action. It is like saying, when I am strong, I will go to the gym today in your life now. No, you go to the gym to get strong. You go to action with fear to obtain confidence. The first time you do something, you are terrified. You do it. You survive. Your brain registers, we did not die. I am capable. Boom, rise of confidence now. The second time, you have less fear. Confidence is simply the memory of having survived previous risks. If you do not take risks, you do not generate survival memory. Your confidence muscle atrophies. That's why those who seek security are the most insecure right now, today, now. Since they never expose themselves, they never prove to themselves that they can take the hit. They believe they are made of glass because they have never been hit. The 1% is full of scars. They know they are hard because they have broken and have healed today now. Do not wait for confidence. Act with insecurity. Confidence will find you on the way. By embracing the necessary clumsiness of new beginnings, you build a foundation of genuine self-assurance that is forged in the fires of actual experience rather than hollow positive thinking now. Systematic desensitization, calluses on the soul. How does one become immune to fear? One does not become immune. One becomes tolerant. It is like getting into freezing water. The first time, the shock is unbearable. You think you're going to have a heart attack. If you get in every day, your body adapts in your world today now. You still feel the cold, but it no longer paralyzes you. Your mind says, I know this, it is cold, I can handle it. You have to expose yourself to microdoses of fear every day. Search for it. Ask for a discount on coffee. Risk of embarrassment today in your world. Greet a stranger in the elevator. Publish an unpopular opinion. You are creating calluses on the soul. The callus is not dead skin. It is skin hardened by friction to protect the structure. When you have mental calluses, the things that terrify the average person only tickle you now. You have raised your pain threshold, and in life whoever has the highest pain threshold wins, because they can go to places where others do not dare for fear of scratching themselves. By intentionally seeking discomfort, you immunize yourself against the paralysis that keeps the majority small. Servants, the death of the ego, the real fear. Let's go deeper. What are you really afraid of? It is not losing money. Money returns. It is not losing time. You are afraid of ridicule. You are afraid that your image of an successful, intelligent, cool person will crumble today in your world right now, today now. It is your ego that is afraid, not your soul. Your soul is invincible. Your soul came to play. Your ego is a fragile little dictator that needs everyone to applaud it. Fear is the ego protecting its territory. The 1% learn to kill the ego before entering battle now. If you don't take yourself so seriously, you have nothing to lose. If you accept that you are an evolved monkey on a rock spinning in nothingness, that you are going to die and that no one will remember you in 100 years, what does it matter if you fail? Today now. What does it matter if they laugh? Personal importance is a prison. Practice radical humility. Be an idiot. Be a beginner. Allow yourself to be bad at something new. When you kill the need to seem smart, you release a tremendous energy to be effective right now, today, now. Fear feeds on your self-importance. Take away its food. By surrendering the false self, you tap into the limitless power of your true essence, moving through challenges with the weightless freedom of someone who has already faced their greatest enemy and emerged victorious. Fourth, premeditatio malorum, the Stoic technique. The Stoics, like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, used a mental tool called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Instead of thinking positive and waiting for everything to go well, which leaves you fragile if it goes wrong, they visualized the worst scenario today in your world. Before embarking on a trip, they thought, there could be a storm, I could be robbed, I could get sick, I could die. They visualized it in detail, and then they asked themselves, could I endure it? The answer was almost always, yes, it would be crap, but I could endure it now. By looking the monster in the eyes before starting, you take away its fangs. Fear grows in the darkness of uncertainty. What if something terrible happens? When you turn on the light and define exactly what that terrible something is, you realize it is not so grave right now today. To the exercise, what is the worst that can happen if you launch your project, that you lose $2,000? Okay, do you die? No. Can you recover them by working 3 months? Yes. That your friends mock you? Okay, do you die? No. Does it filter out idiot friends? Yes now. Suddenly the monster becomes a chihuahua. It is no longer scary. It gives laziness perhaps, but not terror. And laziness is easily overcome. By demystifying your nightmares, you reclaim your agency and the capacity to act with a clear head and a steady hand in the real world. Try the leap of faith, closing the eyes. A moment comes when the analysis ends. A moment comes when the visualization ends. A moment comes when you are on the edge of the precipice. You have the parachute, your preparation. You have the map. But you still have fear today in your world, right now, today, now. That is where the mysticism of the leap of faith enters. You have to disconnect the logical brain and trust the invisible net. Joseph Campbell said, "Leap and the net will appear." Note, he doesn't say wait to see the net and then leap. He says, leap first in your world now. The net is made of your own capacity for adaptation. The net is not out there. You weave it while you fall. You will never know if you can fly if you don't throw yourself. And yes, sometimes you hit the ground. But guess what? You bounce right now, today, now. The human being is anti-fragile, but the sensation of flying, friend, that sensation is worth all the blows. The people who never leap do not have blows, but they do not have air in their lungs either. They suffocate in safety today, in your life, now. By choosing the risk of the fall over the certainty of the cage, you activate the latent divinity within you that only reveals itself when you are truly exposed to the void, transforming the descent into an ascent toward your true potential and absolute freedom. Converting anxiety into focus, flow. When you are in a high-pressure situation, fear, your brain releases norepinephrine and dopamine. These are the chemicals of extreme attention. Fear eliminates distractions. If a tiger is chasing you, you don't start looking at Instagram. You are 100% focused on running right now today. Use this. Put yourself in situations where the cost of failure is real, metaphorical tigers. Promise to deliver the work on an impossible date. Bet money with a friend that you will achieve your goal. Burn the ships. By introducing artificial fear into your system now, you enter a state of hyper-focus. You enter flow. Flow is the state where time disappears and your performance skyrockets to 500%. And the gateway to flow is not relaxation. It is the challenge that is just above your skills, manageable fear today in your life now. If you don't have fear, you get bored. If you have too much, you block. Search for the sweet spot. This scares me, but I think I can do it if I exert myself to the maximum. There lives the genius. By riding the edge of your abilities, you transform fear into focus. Fine practice, the fear burning. We are going to do a transmutation ritual right now. 1. Identify the fear. Think of that action you have been avoiding. The call, the video, the email. Feel the resistance. 2. Label the sensation. Notice your heart, your stomach. Do not call it anxiety today. Call it energy. Visualize it as a white fire in your chest. 3. The line of regret. Close your eyes. Visualize your deathbed. You are 90 years old. You are alone. That old you looks at you with tears and says, "Why didn't you do it? We had so much power now. And we wasted it out of shame." Feel their pain. Let it hurt you. 4. The injection. Now take that pain of the future and that fire energy from your chest. Imagine it is liquid fuel. Inject it into your legs and into your hands today in your life, right now, today, now. 5. The action, 5-second rule. Open your eyes. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take the first physical step of that action now. Do not think. Move with the energy of the fire. By physically executing the impulse, you shatter the inertia and step into the reality of the 1%. Chapter 9. The Law of the Process. The Boredom of Success. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. People love the idea of success, but they hate the texture of success. The texture of success is sandpaper. It is repetition. It is monotony. It is doing the same thing over and over again when no one applauds, when there is no epic music playing in the background, and when results are not yet seen. Congratulations. You have survived the Big Bang. You have taken off. You have overcome the initial fear. You have killed your options with the guillotine. You have started. And now you encounter an enemy you did not expect. An enemy more insidious than fear, more lethal than doubt today now. You encounter boredom. You encounter silence. The first days of euphoria have passed. There is no more adrenaline, No one has given you a prize yet. Your business has not exploded. Your body has not changed radically in 2 weeks. Your book is still in chapter 3. And the excitement is gone. You wake up and it is just Tuesday now. And you have to do it again, and on Wednesday again. And this is where 90% of those who started, and who felt like warriors in chapter 6, give up. They give up because they are addicted to novelty. They are dopamine junkies. They thought success would be a constant action movie, and they find it is a slow and repetitive documentary now. Welcome to the law of the process. Welcome to the desert of the real. Here the motivated do not survive. Here the disciplined survive. In this chapter, we are going to destroy the Hollywood fantasy about success. We are going to learn to fall in love with boredom. Because the dirty secret no one tells you is this today now. The path to greatness is for the most part mundane, repetitive, and lonely. If you cannot endure boredom, you do not deserve glory. By accepting the quiet grind, you forge a character that is impervious to the fickle nature of motivation, allowing you to outlast the competition and reach the heights that the average person only dreams of. The montage fallacy. Rocky lied to you. Cinema has done us a lot of harm. Think of any Rocky movie or movie about overcoming obstacles. The protagonist decides to change. He starts training. Epic music plays, Eye of the Tiger. We see a 3-minute montage sequence. Rocky lifting weights, running in the snow, punching frozen meat, sweating. Cut to black today in your world. 3 minutes later, Rocky is a killing machine and wins the championship. Your brain has been programmed to believe that transformation lasts as long as a song on Spotify. Reality has no background music, and the montage does not last 3 minutes. It lasts 5, 10, or 20 years. In real life, Rocky gets up at 4 a.m. in the cold today now. His knees hurt, he doesn't feel like it. He trains, he eats tasteless food, and he goes to sleep early. And the next day, the same thing. Without cameras, without an audience, without immediate glory. That empty space between the start and the trophy is the process. It is an abyss of repetition. You are living in that abyss now. And because it doesn't look like the movie, you think something is wrong. It should be more exciting. It should go faster. Nothing is wrong. It's going exactly how it has to go. Boredom is not a sign that you have taken the wrong path. It is the sign that you are on the path. Excitement is for tourists. Boredom is for professionals now. So intensity versus consistency, the tortoise and the hare. There are 2 types of effort. Intensity, massive effort in a short time, the Big Bang. Consistency, moderate effort sustained over infinite time. Intensity makes for good stories. I worked 48 hours straight. Consistency makes empires. Intensity is the guy who goes to the gym on January 1st and trains 3 hours now. He trains until he vomits. By January 15th, he no longer goes. Consistency is the guy who goes 45 minutes, 4 days a week for 10 years. Who is strong? The consistent one. The problem is that intensity feeds the ego. It feels heroic. Consistency requires humility. There is nothing heroic about writing 500 words today in your life now. There is nothing heroic about eating a salad today. It is a drop of water. But the law of the process says, the drop breaks the stone not by its force, but by its constancy. If you give a brutal hammer blow to a rock, intensity, you might break it, or you might break the hammer. If you let a drop fall every second for a year now, you pierce the granite. You want to be the drop. Stop looking for the big hit that makes you rich or famous overnight. Look for relentless repetition. Bruce Lee said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Be the man of the one kick today now. Bore your competition to death with your consistency. By valuing the small daily victories over sporadic bursts of effort, you build a momentum that is unstoppable and a foundation that is unshakable, ensuring that your eventual success is not a stroke of luck, but a mathematical certainty in your world today now." 30. The Valley of Disappointment, Chinese Bamboo. There is a graphic phenomenon that James Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. You expect progress to be linear. Effort 10, result 10. Effort 20, result 20. Reality does not work like that. Reality is usually effort 10, result 0. Effort 20, result 0. Effort 50, Result 1, effort 100, result 1000 today, now. This initial phase where you work like an animal and see nothing is called the valley of disappointment. This is where dreams die. You work, you publish, you train, you invest, and the balance remains the same. The scale remains the same. You feel cheated. You say, this doesn't work. It does work, but it is working underground now. It is like Chinese bamboo. You plant the seed, you water it and fertilize it. Year 1, nothing comes out. Year 2, nothing comes out. Year 3, nothing comes out. Year 4, nothing comes out. If you stop watering, it dies. Most stop watering in year 3. What a stupid plant, I've wasted my time. But in year 5, in 6 weeks, the bamboo grows now. It grows 30 meters. Did it grow 30 meters in 6 weeks? No. It grew 30 meters in 5 years. For 4 years, it was creating a gigantic and underground root system capable of sustaining the height. You are in year 2 of the bamboo. You are taking root. You don't see the stalk. But if you cut the process now, you kill the miracle today now. You kill it just before it breaks the surface. Have faith in the biology of success. Nothing is lost. Everything accumulates. By trusting in the invisible growth occurring beneath the surface of your efforts, you develop the resilience necessary to persevere through the lean times until your results explode into view today in your life. The amateur versus professional, the war of art. Stephen Pressfield makes the definitive distinction. The amateur works when they feel inspired, when they feel like it, when conditions are perfect. The professional works because it is their job. The professional doesn't care if they feel like it. They don't care if their head hurts. They don't care if they are sad right now today. Clock in and work. Do you go to your 9-to-5 job only when you are inspired? No, you go because if not, you are fired. Why do you treat your dream with less respect than your junk job? Why do you give your boss your consistency and give your dream only your emotional scraps? Becoming a professional is a mental decision today now. It means divorcing your action from your feelings. I don't feel like writing today. Professional. How interesting. Open the laptop and write. The writer Somerset Maugham said, I write only when inspiration strikes. Fortunately, it strikes every morning at 9 o'clock sharp. Inspiration is not a lightning bolt from heaven now. It is a byproduct of work. The muse is lazy. You have to start working for her to appear. Stop behaving like a spiritual diva who needs the chakras to align to produce. Behave like a bricklayer. Lay the brick, then another. If the brick looks ugly, you'll fix it later. But lay it. By showing up regardless of your internal state now, you command the respect of the universe and ensure that your creative output is not held hostage by the whims of your ego or the fragility of your emotions in your world today. The dopamine detox, the addiction to novelty. Your reptilian brain loves novelty. New project, new diet, new partner, that triggers dopamine. Boring routine does not trigger dopamine. Boring routine triggers serotonin, long-term satisfaction, but that is less exciting. You live in a society designed to overstimulate you. TikTok is 15-second videos today in your world now. The news changes every hour. Your attention span has been mutilated. That is why you cannot stand the process. When things get slow, you reach for your phone. You seek stimulus. And when you go back to your slow work, it seems unbearable. You have to detoxify. You have to retrain your brain to find pleasure in the boring now. Zen monks can look at a white wall for hours and find the universe in it. Master craftsmen can polish the same piece of wood for days and enjoy every micro change in texture. Success requires that you find pleasure not in the final prize, but in the practice. You have to learn to love the sound of your shoes hitting the asphalt now, not just the marathon medal. You have to learn to love the cursor blinking on the screen, not just the published book. If you only love the destination, the trip will be hell. And the trip is 99% of the time. By finding joy in the repetitive tasks of your craft, you transcend the need for external validation and constant novelty today. Vime, the stonemason's creed, Blow 101. Jacob Riis, a social reformer, had a quote on his desk. When nothing seems to help, I go and look at a stonemason hammering away at his rock perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it will split in two, And I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. You are the stonemason. You are at blow 35. The rock is intact. Your mind tells you, you are an idiot. You are hitting an indestructible rock. You are wasting your time. Stop now. The 1% ignore that voice. They know that each blow is weakening the internal structure of the rock, even if it is invisible to the eye today now. You are creating microfractures. Success is cumulative, not sudden. Blow 101, the day you go viral, the day they buy your company, the day you see your abs, is only the visible manifestation of the 100 previous invisible days. Do not despise the blows that break nothing. They are the most important blows today now. They are the ones that prepare the break. By understanding the aggregate power of your actions, you find the strength to continue striking your own metaphorical rock, knowing that every single effort brings you closer to the inevitable moment when your persistence pays off, and your reality splits open to reveal the treasure within today. Falling in love with the plateau mastery. George Leonard wrote an essential book called Mastery. He explains that learning is not a constant upward line. It is a series of jumps and plateaus. You learn something new. You go up a step. You stall on a long plateau where it seems you don't improve. You go up another step, plateau today in your life now. We spend most of our lives on the plateau. On the plateau, you work hard and you don't improve. Sometimes you even get a little worse. The amateur hates the plateau. They get frustrated. I'm not moving forward. I quit. The master loves the plateau. They know that the plateau is where knowledge is consolidated today now. It is where the habit is recorded in the bone marrow. Learn to live on the plane. Do not live for the peaks of euphoria. They are rare and brief. Find peace on the plane. Find zen in repetition. Say to yourself, today I am going to do the same as yesterday, but a little bit better. And that is enough in your world now. Fair? Rituals over goals, systems versus objectives. Everyone tells you set goals. I tell you goals are overrated. Systems are what matter. A goal is a future event. Lose 10 kilos. A system is a present ritual. Eat healthy and walk 30 minutes every day. If you focus only on the goal, you are unhappy until you achieve it. And when you achieve it, you feel a void now. You feel a void and need another goal. It is a treadmill of dissatisfaction. Furthermore, winners and losers have the same goals. All Olympic athletes want the gold. The goal is not what differentiates them. What differentiates them is their system, their daily ritual. Forget the goal for a moment today in your life. Focus on the system. Focus on making the perfect day. What is the ritual that, if you repeat it 365 times, makes success inevitable? Design that day and execute it. Success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become through your rituals. Your future is hidden today now. It is hidden in your daily routine. Tell me what you do on any given Tuesday at 7 in the evening, and I will tell you where you will be in 5 years. By prioritizing the quality of your daily habits over the distant mirage of your objectives, you master the present moment and ensure that your trajectory is always toward greatness. Dice, invisible compound interest, the snowball. We return to finance because it is the universal law. At the beginning, compound interest is ridiculous. You invest $1,000, you earn $10. Wow, what a pittance. But if you leave those $10 and keep contributing, in 30 years, the curve becomes vertical. The same happens with skills and character right now today in your life now. Reading 10 pages today does not make you wise. Reading 10 pages every day for 10 years makes you a human encyclopedia with a capacity for connecting ideas superior to 99.9%. People underestimate what they can do in a decade and overestimate what they can do in a day. Play the long game in your world right now today now. Be the house. The house always wins because the house plays every hand infinitely. Do not try to win the lottery. Quick success. Try to be the casino, inevitable mathematical success. By playing the game of eternity, you transcend the anxiety of short-term results and align yourself with the slow, steady power now. You align with the power of nature that builds mountains and carves canyons over time, ensuring that your ultimate success is as solid and permanent as the laws of physics themselves. Boredom as a filter, the guardian. Here is the best news of all. The fact that it is difficult and boring is your greatest advantage. If it were easy, fast, and exciting, everyone would do it. If having a great body were fun and achieved by eating pizza, everyone would have a great body. Then the great body would have no value right now, today, now. The value of something is directly proportional to the difficulty of achieving it. Boredom is the gatekeeper. Boredom is there to filter out the tourists, the weak, those who don't really want it. When you feel boredom, rejoice. It means the competition is giving up. It means the herd is scattering now. It means the herd is scattering, and the path is clearing for you. You are entering deep waters where children cannot touch the bottom. Keep swimming. It is at kilometer 30 of the marathon that the race is won, because it is where everyone wants to stop. You do not stop. You eat the boredom and ask for dessert today, now. Kind of practice, don't break the chain, the Seinfeld method. Jerry Seinfeld, one of the richest comedians in history, revealed his secret. He had a giant calendar on the wall. Every day that he wrote jokes, whether they were good or bad, he put a big red X on the day. After a few days, he had a chain. X, 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 X. His only goal in life was, do not break the chain today, now. He did not worry about whether the joke was funny. He only worried about putting the X. A moment comes when the chain is so long that you are afraid to break it. Your own consistency pushes you. Your exercise for today. 1. Choose one daily action that brings you closer to your goal. 2. Print a calendar now. Do it today. Put an X. For tomorrow, put another X. Your sacred mission is not to leave a blank space. If you do this for a year, you will be unrecognizable. By tethering your self-worth to the chain rather than the outcome, you automate your excellence and become a force of nature that cannot be denied or ignored. Chapter 10. The Cosmic Duty. You do not belong to yourself. You did not come into this world to be happy. Happiness is a cheap byproduct of something much larger. You came to be useful. You came to fulfill a function. Your life is not yours. It is a temporary loan of energy that the universe has granted you on one condition, that you do something with it. If you bury your talent out of fear or laziness, you're not just a failure, you are a thief. We have reached the end of the journey. We have talked about how to escape the cemetery, how to overcome fear, how to hack time, and how to focus like a laser. But one question remains floating in the air, the most important question. For what? Why so much effort? Why wake up at 5 a.m.? Why suffer the discipline? Why risk bankruptcy or ridicule? To buy a better car? To have abs so they look at you at the beach? So that your former classmates envy you? If that is your motivation, I have bad news. You are going to run out of gas. The ego is a limited fuel. There comes a moment when you already have the car, you already have the money, and you already have the applause. And then what? Then comes the existential void, the millionaire's suicide. You reach the top and realize there is nothing there, only cold wind. To truly enter the 1%, not just the 1% of wealth, but the 1% of transcendence, you have to change your fundamental operating system. You have to understand the hardest and most liberating metaphysical truth of all. You do not belong to yourself. Your body is not yours. It belongs to the earth and will return to it. Your mind is not yours. It is an antenna tuning into universal consciousness. Your talent is not yours. It is a gift given to you in custody. You are a steward, an administrator, and one day the owner of the estate, call it God, universe, life, or biology, will come to do an audit. He will ask you, I gave you intelligence, I gave you health, I gave you ideas, I gave you time. What have you produced with it? If your answer is, well, I used it to be safe, watch series, and not get stressed, you have failed in your cosmic mission. In this last chapter, we are going to talk about your duty. We are going to talk about why success is not a right or a whim, but a moral obligation. The parable of the talents, the financial code of the universe. It doesn't matter if you are religious or an atheist. The Bible contains brutal metaphysical codes. The parable of the talents is perhaps the most important lesson in spiritual economics ever written. A master goes on a journey and leaves his goods to 3 servants. To one he gives 5 talents, gold coins, to another 2, and to another 1. The one with 5 trades and wins another 5, the one with 2 trades and wins another 2. The one with one, out of fear of losing it, digs a hole in the ground and hides the money. When the master returns, he congratulates the first two. But to the third he says, "You wicked and lazy servant, you knew that I reap where I did not sow. You should have put my money in the bank so that it would earn interest." And he takes the talent from him and throws him into the darkness. This is not a story about money, it is a story about potential. The wicked servant was not a thief or a murderer, he was a conservative. He was someone seeking security, chapter 2. His sin was fear. His sin was not using what was given to him. The universe is capitalist in the energetic sense. What is not used is taken away. What is used is multiplied. If you have the gift of speech and do not speak, you will lose your voice, metaphorically. If you have the gift of strength and do not train, you atrophy. The universe hates the performance vacuum. You have an ethical responsibility to maximize your gifts. It is not about ambition in the vulgar sense. It is about return on investment, ROI, for the creator. The universe invested millions of years of evolution in you, supernovas exploding to create your atoms, thousands of ancestors surviving. Are you going to tell the universe that all that investment was so you could stay on the sofa? What arrogance! You have to produce. You have to multiply. Here's the cancerous cell versus the healthy cell. Let's look at biology. In a human body, a healthy cell works for the whole. It takes resources, yes, but it performs a function. It pumps blood, filters toxins, transmits signals. It serves the organism. What is a cancerous cell? It is a cell that has forgotten its cosmic duty. It says, "I am the most important. I am going to eat all the resources. I am going to grow infinitely. I don't care about the rest of the body." Cancer is biological selfishness. And guess what happens? By destroying the body, the cancerous cell also dies. Most people live like cancer. What can I get out of this? How much are they going to pay me? What's in it for me? The 1% live like a healthy stem cell. How can I serve? What can I contribute? What problem can I solve? Paradoxically, the body, society, protects, nurtures, and gives more resources to the cells that are most useful. If you become an extremely useful person, money and success will rain down on you, not because you pursue it, but because the system needs to keep you healthy and strong so that you continue serving. Wealth is the world's applause for the service provided. Stop asking what the world can do for you. Start asking what you can do for the world. 30. You are the answer to someone's prayer. This will give you goosebumps. Right now, somewhere there is someone praying for or desperately desiring a solution. Perhaps it is a sick person looking for a cure. Perhaps it is a parent looking for how to educate their child. Perhaps it is someone sad looking for a song to comfort them. Perhaps it is someone broke looking for a method to earn money. You have that solution. Either you have it already, or you have the ability to create it if you set yourself to work. Your book, your business, your art, your word of encouragement, that is the answer to their prayer. But because you have fear or laziness or analysis paralysis, that person continues to suffer. Your inaction has real victims. When you understand this, the fear of criticism disappears. Imagine that you are a firefighter and there are people in a burning building. Would you stop at the door thinking, "Oh, what if my suit doesn't fit right? What if people criticize the way I hold the hose?" No, you kick your way in, because the mission is more important than your vanity. Venturing, creating, and leading is an act of rescue. There are people waiting for you to wake up. Stop looking at your navel and look at the flames. Your success is not about you, it is about them. First, the ego is the enemy of service. Fear is always selfish. If you are afraid of public speaking, it is not because you are humble. It is because you are arrogant. You are thinking, what will they think of me? Will I look stupid? Will they reject me? Me. If you were 100% focused on the message and on helping the audience, you would not be afraid. The mother who throws herself in front of a car to save her child is not afraid. Why? Because at that moment her ego has disappeared. Only the child exists. Love casts out fear. Service casts out fear. If you want to lose the fear of failure, become obsessed with serving. Fall in love with your client, your reader, your cause. When your desire to help is greater than your desire to look good, you become unstoppable. You become an instrument. And an instrument is not afraid. A hammer does not hesitate. A scalpel does not tremble. Ask the universe. Make me an instrument of your peace or your progress. Use me until I break. I am not here to show off. I am here to function. V, the chain of ancestors, the spear. Look back in time. You see your parents. Behind them, your grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents. An unbroken line that goes back thousands of years to the caves. Imagine what they went through. Famines, wars, Black Plague, polar winters, saber-toothed tigers. They fought. They bled. They survived. They reproduced. They passed the torch of life from hand to hand, protecting it from the wind of extinction, just so it would reach you. You are the tip of the spear of millions of years of survival. All their strength, all their hope, culminates in you, now. And what are you going to do with that torch? Are you going to use it to light a cigarette and watch Netflix? Are you going to let it go out because you are tired or you have anxiety? That is treason. It is treason to your blood. You have the cosmic duty to honor the sacrifice of your ancestors by being the strongest, freest and most abundant version of your lineage. You have to be the one who breaks the chains of poverty, the one who heals the traumas, the one who elevates the family name. Don't do it for yourself. Do it because they are watching you from the other side, shouting, "Go, you have everything. Do not waste what cost us so much to give you." For we are channels, the radio, the greatest geniuses in history, Mozart, Tesla, Einstein, Michelangelo, always said the same thing. It wasn't me. It came through me. I simply took dictation. They felt they were channels, radios tuned to a higher frequency. Metaphysically, ideas exist in a cloud, the quantum field, Plato's world of ideas. They seek to enter the physical world. They seek conductors. If you are clean, focused, disciplined, without ego, the signal passes through clearly. You create masterpieces. If you are dirty, full of doubts, laziness, distractions, resentment, the signal becomes distorted. It comes out as static. Your duty is to keep your channel clean. Your duty is to care for your body and your mind to be a good conductor of divine electricity. When you take drugs, when you eat junk, when you don't sleep, when you fill yourself with hate, you are dirtying the antenna. The universe tries to send you the symphony, but you only reproduce noise. Success is ultimately an act of spiritual hygiene, cleaning yourself so that the force can pass through you without resistance. Seventh, the legacy, planting trees. There is a Greek proverb that defines civilization. A society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. This is the ultimate long-term thinking. The thinking of the 1% goes beyond their own biological life. The 99% think about the weekend. The rich think about the decade. The legendary think about the next century. What are you going to leave when you go? And I don't just mean money for your children, that sometimes ruins them. I mean systems, books, institutions, inventions, values. Will your passage through the world have left the campsite better or worse than you found it? Most people are consumers of reality. They eat, spend, use, and die. They leave trash. The 1% are producers of reality. They build roads that others will walk on. Your cosmic duty is to be an architect of the future, even on a small scale. Raising a child with strong values is a legacy. Creating a garden is a legacy. But do it with the intention that it lasts longer than you. Death is not the end if you built something that survives you. Face the great filter, the test of dignity. Sometimes you will ask, why is it so difficult? If the universe wants me to succeed, why does it put so many obstacles in my way? Because the universe does not give nuclear weapons to children. Success is power. Money is power. Influence is power. If the universe gave you that power before you had the character to handle it, you would destroy yourself and others. Look at what happens to lottery winners. Their lives are ruined because they had the money, but not the character. The obstacles, the pain, the boredom, the loneliness are the great filter. It is the universe's quality control system. The universe is testing you. It hits you to see if you break. It gives you pressure to see if you are coal or diamond. If you give up, the universe says, "Okay, this one wasn't ready for greatness. Let's keep them in mediocrity where they are safe." If you endure, if you persist, if you transmute fear, the universe says this one is worthy. This one can handle the voltage. Let's give them the power. Be grateful for the test. The test is the confirmation that you are a candidate for the throne. Dice the final surrender, thy will be done. The last step of the warrior is surrender. Not surrendering to the enemy, but surrendering to the mission. To stop fighting for what I want, whims of the ego, and start fighting for what must be done. It is the moment when you say, my life no longer matters. What matters is the work. It is when the soldier throws himself on the grenade to save the platoon. It is when the artist starves to buy paint. It is when the entrepreneur works 18 hours not for the money, but because he believes in his product. When you reach that level of commitment, you become dangerous, you become untouchable. How can you blackmail a man who has already given his life? How can you scare a woman who no longer fears losing anything because she possesses nothing, she only manages? This is the ultimate freedom, the freedom of having nothing to protect. You only have something to give. And curiously, when you stop trying to grab the world surrenders to you. Jesus, Buddha, the Stoics, they all said the same thing. He who seeks to save his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake, the higher cause, will find it. X, the vow of utility. I want us to make a final pact. Not a legal contract, but a metaphysical blood oath. I want you to commit to stop being a tourist on this planet. Declare your utility today. Say, I, your name, renounce mediocrity. I renounce selfish fear. I recognize that my talents are not mine. I promise to squeeze myself out to the last drop. I promise that when death comes to find me, it will find me working, not waiting. I promise to die empty. I am a channel. I am a force of nature. I am the 1%. Kyungsan, closing the chapter. The curtain falls. The book ends here. I have no more words for you. You already have the diagnosis, symmetry, chronopathy, drift. You have the cure, Big Bang, guillotine, fire. And you have the purpose, cosmic duty. The knowledge is delivered. Now the difficult part begins. Now begins the part where you turn off the audio and face the silence of your room and the mirror. No one is going to come save you. No one is going to push you. The universe has given you the keys to the car, but it is not going to drive it for you. The engine is on, the road is open, and the clock is running backwards. Do not disappoint your potential. Do not disappoint your ancestors. Do not disappoint the God who imagined you. This is the end of the theory, the start of your practice. Welcome to the war. Welcome to life. Welcome to the 1%. Now go and make it happen. Conclusion, the last opportunity. It's over. The background music is going to stop in a few seconds. My voice will fade out. The playback bar will reach the end, and you are going to be left alone. You are going to be left alone with the silence of your room, with the noise of the street, or with the buzz of your own thoughts today in your world right now. And this is the most dangerous moment of all. It is dangerous because right now you feel a high. You feel that you have learned something. You feel that you have changed. Your ego is patting you on the back, telling you, very well, you have listened to a book about discipline and metaphysics. We are already better than yesterday now. I have to warn you, that is a lie. You have changed nothing. You have achieved nothing. The only thing you have done has been to consume information. And as I told you in Chapter 5, consuming without executing is mental masturbation. It gives you pleasure, but it does not engender life. This has been a total waste of your time today now. If you close this audio and go back to your usual routine, if tomorrow you get up at the same time, eat the same junk, postpone the same tasks, and complain about the same problems, then this book has been a total waste of your time. Worse still, it has been an anesthetic. It has made you feel you were advancing in your world now. It made you feel you were advancing when you were only turning in circles. You are standing at a crossroads. It is the crossroads the old bluesmen spoke of, where the soul is sold. But you are not going to sell it to the devil. You have the opportunity to sell it to your purpose right now, today in your life. Right now, today, now. You have two paths in front of you, and they separate right now in this instant. The path on the left is the path of the 99%. It is the easy path. It is the path of the drift. If you take this path, you will forget everything you have heard in 24 hours. Inertia and the hypnotic rhythm will swallow you again today in your world now. You will go back to seeking security. You will go back to waiting for someday. You will go back to burying your talents. It is a comfortable path, paved and air-conditioned, but at the end of that path, there is a cliff, and when you fall off it on your deathbed, you will encounter the hell of regret right now today in your life now. You will encounter the version of yourself that you could have been, and it will look at you with pity. The path on the right is the path of the 1%. It is an unpaved road. It is full of stones, brambles, and fog. There are no guarantees. There is no security. If you take this path, it is going to hurt you in your world right now, today, now. You are going to have to kill your old self. You are going to have to disappoint people who want to see you stuck. You are going to have to work when you are exhausted. But at the end of that path, my friend, at the end of that path is glory. Not the glory of fame, but the glory of looking in the mirror today in your world now. The glory of respecting the person who looks back at you. The glory of knowing that you squeezed yourself out, that you kept nothing for yourself, that you were useful. You cannot stay in the middle. Not choosing is choosing the path on the left. The current takes you there by default. To take the right one, you have to turn now. You have to apply the personal Big Bang. I am going to give you one last instruction. Do not wait for tomorrow. As soon as this audio ends, I want you to make one physical movement. Not a thought, a movement. Throw that junk food in the trash. Delete that application from your mobile. Write the first paragraph today in your world now. Buy the domain. Send the message of forgiveness. Do something that is irreversible. Burn a ship. Prove to yourself with facts that the person who started listening to this book is not the same one who finishes it. The hourglass keeps running. Every second you have spent listening to this is 1 second less of life right now, today, now. The sand does not go back up. Death is hunting you. It is not something morbid. It is the engine that must propel you. Run faster than her. Create so much, love so much, build so much, that when death reaches you, it has to take an empty corpse because you already gave everything in life. This has been your wake-up call today now. The universe has shaken you by the shoulders. Are you going to wake up, or are you going to turn over and keep sleeping? The choice is yours. The duty is yours. The power is yours. Welcome to the war against mediocrity. Welcome to the ranks of the 1%. Now turn this off. Go out there and make the earth shake today in your world now.